Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the Central Committee stream. I am your host, Mike from PA. Mike, you're going to grow a popularity. May want to consider them suit meta. Suit meta achieved. Mike, it's insane how close you were with your predictions. Avalia, DAC up 4 points. Carlisa means Mike was right. I mean, yeah. That was basically my point, that it would be, that she would win by 4. I got it almost exactly correct. I will say that I think Claire won by more than I thought she was going to win, but the number was very close. What I said she would get like 55 was very close. Mamdani should have promoted down ballot better. I cried last night. I put in time phone banking. It was difficult to feel that impact, but I feel empowered now. Well, we're going to get into that. Hey, Mike, how Marxist are you feeling today? I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know how to say this, but I was completely right, obviously. Like, my analysis has been dead on for a long time now. Mike, I was doing 15-hour days for the last stretch. My back and feet hurt. Well, if you did it for Carlisa, then you won. Then you made it happen, literally. She won the early vote, and that's due to DSA. Like, I need you guys to understand that, like, Carlisa won because of DSA and the ground game and wringing out every vote we could. She won the early vote, and then she won election day vote. Listen, it's not just about, like, I don't want this to just be like, oh, Mike was right. Mike is the best, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. I want you to take my analysis, obviously give me credit, say like Mike was right about, probably you should have Mike from PA on. He predicted 49 out of the 50 states in 2024. He predicted Dsa Mamdani's exact margin in the primary, 56%. He predicted almost dead-on accurate 3 congressional races the day before the election. That's probably someone you should listen to. I don't know. What did I make the margins of victory? Should we have pushed more candidates, or was DSA correct about capacity? Yesterday, I said if all 3 win, that means that the capacity argument was incorrect. And I think everybody understands that, because if you look at it factually, they ran out of doors to knock and phones to call. They could have had at least another race. They were like beating down doors they had already knocked 5 times in the same day. Like they were over capacity. They needed another race. They won every seat. That means we didn't run enough. There's a DSA elections page. Fuck, I don't remember it. If someone can find me it. There was a page that shows all the DSA endorsed candidates. I think they all won in New York. Darlisa was close for comfort. People in NYC DSA were telling me Claire's race was close. I totally disagreed. It was right. Gustavo agrees. Che would have won. Yep. That's what I said. But here's the thing. I honestly feel like I'm glad they didn't listen to me. And I'm going to say why. I'm going to tell you why I'm glad that people didn't listen to me in 2026. Because if we had run like I advised in 2026, it would have given too many W's to the establishment, because we would have lost a bunch of races, because that's what it looks like when you're actually at capacity. There's going to be a bunch of races that you don't win. Like, if you win everything, you didn't go for enough. To know that you're properly calibrated, there should be some races that you're losing, right? Because you know what I mean? So the fact that we had no losses means that we were not ambitious enough. And so I'm kind of glad they didn't listen to me. And the reason why is I think the conditions are going to be even better for us in 2028. We have an opportunity to really remake the entire country in a realignment. And in 2028, we're going to have a bunch more people going fucking buck wild. Is this it? Yes. Look at this. And by the way, the national DSA didn't endorse a bunch of candidates they should have endorsed. Why the fuck did they not? I thought they endorsed Claire. Why the fuck did they not endorse Claire Valdez? Why the fuck did they not, like, that was local DSA candidate. Like, the national is way too precious with their endorsement. National DSA is I know. I'm aware of the immaturity of what's going on. Don't even get me started. All right. So what did I actually predict? Let's take a look at what I actually predicted, and then we'll say, like, Mike was right. Like, obviously I was right. Like, it's not a like surprise that I was right if you're in my community. But I want you guys to understand that no one else is doing this. Like, you're probably used to it because you've watched me for a while. No one else is doing it like us. No one else is doing it like us. Here, I'll let you. Like, there isn't another numbers guy who's getting it like this. So here's my prediction from Monday. My prediction, Valdez 48, Reynoso 46, Juan 6. No. It's going to be more than that. Mine is like, I think it's 55. Okay, that my 2x speed was crazy. My prediction, Valdez 48, Reynoso 46, Juan 6. No. It's going to be more than that. Mine is like, I think it's 55 Valdez, at least. I think 48 is way too low. My honest read is the negative spending hurt her significantly with older voters, and a challenge once prime for an upset may fall a couple points short. No. And the reason why I'm... So, let's go and take a look. So, what did I say? Claire Valdez, at least 55 is what I said? Hurt her significantly with older voters. I think it's 55 Valdez. I said 55 at least. Damn it, I'm wrong. 56.1. Damn. 56.1. I was off. All right, let's go on to the next one. At least. I think 48 is way too low. My honest read is the negative spending hurt her significantly with older voters, and a challenge once prime for an upset may fall a couple points short. No. And the reason why I think it's going to be the other way. I think it's going to be her. So this is a round of 4-point lead is what I was saying. Right? So I said, I think she's going to win the other way, win by 4. We'll see how that goes. 52 and Espelade at 48. Why do I say that? Again, one, people are going to turn out big time, right? They're going to turn out big time on election day for her. It's not going to compare to Zoran, but he doesn't need to do that well. She can give up 10 points, and she will compared to what Zoran did in that district, but she'll still win. That's why. So there you have it. So 55 for Claire and 52 for Dari. Those are my numbers. All right, what's the last one? Lander, I think, is at 65. So she won by 4. The reason why it's not 52-48 is because the rando third candidate, the rando other candidates chip it off. But basically the ratio, she basically did the same thing, right? I was able to get it exactly with Brad Lander because there was only 2. And, so Dara Lisa ends up winning by 2,000 and some change. 2,000 and some change votes, which I had another post that I wanted to show you. So there you have it. Those are my nearly perfect predictions. I would say, hey, Mango TCG, thanks for the 25 off. Thank you guys for the morning hype train. What do you even say, right? Like, I think that I'm not... what bums me out is it doesn't seem to matter that I get everything right all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be like, I should be in charge of everything. Pretty easy predictions. You got to show me someone else who got it like this. You got to show me someone else who got it this way. You got to show me. Here's my insufferable to get it right. You've only gotten everything so right so far. Yeah, true. Did I hit on Kalshi? I honestly should gamble. I don't gamble, chat, and I'm starting to regret it. I don't want to go through Kalshi or any of these gambling sites. I just don't like them. I don't want to be part of those spaces. I don't want to profit them. I keep trying to get people to bet me money on Twitter, but no one takes me up on it. You know what I mean? It's like I keep trying to get people to bet me money, and they won't. You'll distort your analysis. That's the other factor, is I don't want to. The thing about gambling is, if I just bet where I had high conviction, then I would win. But the thing about gambling is once you start gambling, you get addicted to gambling and you start pushing and you start making more bets where you don't have as much of an edge. So in order to be a professional gambler, you have to have extreme discipline, and that is impossible. That's where people fail, is having that discipline. Brother, you got no room to talk? What's this?
Oh my god, there's people flying up to our base right now. Holy shit, they're on the roof. They're on the roof.
Oh, no.
What the fuck are you trying to link? I think you linked the wrong thing, and I'm gonna punish you for 10 minutes. The fuck are you trying to link? From the Gaza Solidarity Encampment to Congress. So proud of you. Abso-fucking-lutely correct. And I think anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I was able to get these elections dead on accurate because my analysis is actually based on a combination of understanding voter psychology. And the thing is, it would be easy if I was say I was Ed Germentum and I kind of got one election right, and then I dined out on that for the rest of my life. That would be useless. That could just be dumb luck, right? That could just be dumb luck. But I got that Kamala Harris was losing. right? I predicted Kamala Harris losing horribly. And then I predicted Dsa Mamdani's exact margin in the primary. Does anyone have a video of that? Can someone give me the video of what I said he would get 56? Maybe I tweeted it. I said he would get 56% of the vote in the primary. He got 56% of the vote in the primary. And then we have 3 separate elections that I hit dead on. There's no one else in the game doing that. Like, there just isn't. Whatever I disagree with Lang, I usually regret it, but I'm sure I will again this time. I really agonized over New York 7 and with the youth surge and later early voting. I think if it went a few days longer, Valdez would eke out a win. I'm going with Reynoso and a squeaker.
But yet young people and white voters want her. Why?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there never has been a better time to be a socialist in this country. It is full steam ahead. And to my previous point, the Democrats aren't stopping it. They're not pushing back on it. And you see these, it's sort of like liberal transplants in these cities who are coming in, and these young voters, they want change, but they like what the socialist candidates are selling them.
Like, this guy has a career by being wrong. Also, I'm blocked because he's a fucking moron. And I made fun of him in replies, and so he blocked me. But he's bad at this. Now, okay, this isn't about my ego. I don't want it to be about my ego. It's not about me, like, oh, feeling like, oh, I'm not getting enough attention. I actually get a lot of attention, okay? It's not about that. I just want you to listen to my advice. That's what I want. I want people to listen to my advice and run for office. Like a certain LA's AOC who would easily win. You know who I'm talking about. But it's okay. She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it. Okay? She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it. The chief of staff of a former New York City mayor, Eric Adams, has been arrested in a federal bribery probe. Amazing. And like, so going back to that. So my prediction was exactly accurate, right? If you just got here, here was my predictions one more time. And then we'll go look and see what actually happened. My prediction, Valdez 48, Reynoso 46, Juan 6. No. It's going to be more than that. Mine is like, I think it's 55 Valdez, at least. All right. 55 Valdez. 55. 1.1% off. What a fucking loser. Keep going. I think 48 is way too low. My honest read is the negative spending hurt her significantly with older voters, and a challenge once prime for an upset may fall a couple points short. No. And the reason why I think it's going to be the other way. I think it's going to be her at 52 and Espelot at 48. Why do I say that? Again, one, people are going to turn out big time, right? They're going to turn out big time on election day for her. It's not going to compare to Zoran, but he doesn't need to do that well. She can give up 10 points, and she will compared to what Zoran did in that district, but she'll still win. That's why. So there you have it. So 55 for Claire and 52 for Dari. So basically the head-to-head around 4 points leading. Let's go ahead and check the results. Oh, she won by 4 points. Now there's also some some loose change from randos, but she won by 4 points. So basically 52-48. Go ahead and get the Brad Lander prediction. Those are my numbers. All right, what's the last one? Lander I think is at 65. Those are my Lander at 65. Go ahead and take a look at the results. 65.8. So I was off by 0.8. Now, obviously, I've only done this is like a fluke, right? Like, obviously, this is a fluke. Like, I didn't exactly get Zoran's prediction right. Isn't that true? And by the way, here was my analysis prior to the election. Personally, I believe all 3 of Zoran's congressional slate will win. Why? Left candidates have overperformed polls almost everywhere across the country. Zoran is more popular with Dem-based voters than he was in his primary. What I mean by that is his endorsement is actually worth more now than it was when he won his primary and when he won the general election. Like Zoran, a lot of people that voted for Andrew Cuomo now like Dsa Mamdani, especially older Democrats. And third, the DSA turnout operation is very strong. And you guys were part of that. And that is something that I wanted to underline. Last night I had a post because I was watching Hasan and one of our mutuals came up. NYDSA co-chair, my mutuals. He came up to talk to Hasan and he had this to say.
That's about the size of our listeners' feed right now. So from those phone calls alone, 2,000 identified likely voters for Dari
So one weekend of phone banking among our communities. It's like, when I say among our communities, it's like Albania and China, the leader of the Albanian Communist Party saying Albania and China together have 1.4 billion communists. That's how I feel. But anyway, I don't mind being Hasan's Albania. We did it. We did it. It was us. I personally attribute Claire's landslide. I think Claire was likely going to win a squeaker, and then there was a really important thing that happened. And we call it the Mike from PA difference, right? I was obviously campaigning hard for Daria Lisa, but she didn't come on my stream. Claire Valdez, she came on my stream. And so she got the Mike from PA bump, all right? The Mike from PA bump was the difference. Mike, you should start a poll aggregator, call it 558 polling, then get kicked out and start another one called Red Bulletin. Yeah, exactly. I didn't phone bank because I'm Canadian. You're allowed to phone bank. Foreigners are allowed to volunteer in American elections, but you can't give money. And you can't be paid by a foreign entity to volunteer. I was on the ground doing poll site for Daria Lisa, flipping voters, then hanging with volunteers for the watch party, talk about how each voter we flipped really mattered. Crazy to have that direct impact in such a close race. The other factor, and this is for, you know, the dumb anarchists and ultras. I hope you're changing your mind. I hope you realize how important Zoran actually was, because Zoran endorsed a Gaza encampment leader is now going to Congress, and she threw out a Zionist, one of the most extreme Zionists in the Congress, the leader of the Hispanic caucus, 5-time incumbent, was thrown out of office because Dsa Mamdani endorsed her. Let's be honest. Obviously, our phone banking worked. Obviously, our support worked. But Dsa Mamdani, he has trust with the voters, with the masses. And when he said, I trust Daria Lisa, and so can you, how many people went along with the DSA because they trust Zoran? The same thing's going to happen with AOC runs for president, except it's not going to just be in one city. It's going to be in every American city. Every fucking one. I have my criticisms of AOC. I have my disagreements with AOC. I have my strategy differences with AOC. I felt like she should have done more in New York because they won. Zoran paved the way. AOC focused on state legislators. Zoran focused on Congress. And they together, they brought in this victory for look at NYC DSA's night. Look at NYC DSA's night. And all of these pro-Palestine activists are winning. And guess what? The establishment is fucking scared. The New York Times today had to say, victories by pro-Palestinian Democrats show the party's shift on Israel. 3 Democrats who have outspoken in their criticism of Israel won primaries in New York on Tuesday, signaling their party's new skepticism of the country and its actions. This is the praxis and the politics that I told you would work. I told you Kamala Harris lost because of her position on Gaza. How many liberals and lib-left, you know, how many of those people that are like, you know, that call us class reductionists said that it didn't matter? It did matter. That is why Kamala lost. A fuck Kamala Harris Gaza encampment leader, Daria Lisa, is now going to Congress. Do you get it? And why are they scared? Because we didn't go and we're going to run as a Green Party candidate and get 3% of the vote. We're going to run some sort of quixotic loser campaign and a know-nothing third party. We ran in the primary and we took their party from them. We took their party from them. We kicked the liberals the fuck out. We took it. And this is, by the way, this is not something that's new. We have a plan to defeat Israel. We are going to do the comprehensive anti-apartheid act against Israel. This was when American policy went from supporting South Africa's apartheid state under Ronald Reagan, and then we had a national anti-apartheid movement that won at the grassroots level, and we intimidated politicians to such an extent that previously supportive of apartheid South Africa guys voted to sanction South Africa. You weren't even allowed to fly a plane to apartheid South Africa. They couldn't have a bank account. They couldn't sell or buy products. We're going to do that to Israel. Anybody telling you the left should not have state power is a fucking fed, because it has worked before and it's working again. Now, obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. Obviously, we're not going to seize power instantly because we changed our mind up here. We have to go out there and get the masses behind us. And we have to go through the process of these stupid fucking elections. But this is a complete vindication of Hasan's strategy and my strategy that we should selectively support very good pro-Palestine Democrats primaries. And anybody telling you that, oh, we should only do it this one way, and they don't look at what's happening tonight, you need to stop listening and stop following those people because they're fucking stupid. Marxism is scientific socialism. You're supposed to look at the facts and material reality on the ground. You're supposed to take in new information. We are an empirical movement. We have different strategies we pursue at the same time, and the ones that's working is the one we go all in on. It doesn't mean stop doing mutual aid. It doesn't mean stop protesting. The Gaza encampments were key to what's happening now. All of the movement together is what's delivering these wins. But people tell you to check out of taking state power away from Zionists are doing their job for them. I want you guys to be smart. And we made a difference. We literally made a difference because of Hasan, because of this community. We helped win this election. The New York City DSA co-chair came up to Hasan and said, your phone banks were her lead. It's not to say that we did it all. Obviously, New York City DSA has been organizing for a decade now. And when did New York City DSA blow up? They blew up from the Bernie Sanders campaign. You're literally seeing the results of prior years and prior elections. And yes, it's a little bit unsatisfying that it didn't happen all at once. I'm sorry we didn't win in 2020. I'm sorry we didn't win in 2016. But movements don't win all their demands right off. We have to go through the process of demonstrating to people what it looks like when we win. Free Israel, cop and private property hating Mamdanites with Democratic congressional primaries, the hateful slate. The one thing about the New York Post is that they show you that they may have dumb as fuck politics. Just because you're an evil rag doesn't mean you can't spit some bars. Next week, we're going to win in Denver. If you're in Denver, tell Milad to reply. You know, we were going back and forth on coming on the stream, and they fucking, I know they're busy for GOTV. Tell her to fucking reply. Text her. Tell her about the Mike from PA bump. This is the actual post. Tell her about the Mike from PA bump. Mike from PA difference. I think this is the first congressional candidate to come on the Central Committee stream and win. I know AOC has been in the chat, but she didn't actually come into the stream. Oliver is obviously next. How does 3.8K viewers translate to total audience? Usually it's like 6 times or 7 times, whatever you're getting in concurrence. 6, 7, sorry, but that's the ratio. What do you want me to say? Hot take. If you endorse the person in this screenshot, you should be giving advice. You should not be giving advice for winning the presidency. There's something that you need to know about Hutch, is that we own him. He is our bitch. He is our lol cow. Everything that Hasan and I have been saying for 7, 8 years is coming true. I know you guys, I need you guys to understand that. Everything we said, from our analysis to how good our candidates will be when they're in office, we own you. And it's good. America wants change. You guys, like, the thing that's so funny about them is they only have these positions because a narcissist in the name of destiny is mad that Hasan is more popular than him, and so he makes his entire life about the narcissistic smear campaign. So his politics are 100% just whatever Hasan isn't.
Valdez is in great shape there in the 7th district, but I wasn't necessarily sure that in the election day vote that she would make the kind of jump that Adam just told us she's making with that election day vote. And we're seeing it for Avila Chevalier in Manhattan.
Oh my God.
Which again is the bulk of this district. Probably.
I want you to understand that there's very few, like, I don't think you guys really get it. Like, I know we have Hutch on the screen. I'm making fun of Hutch, but I need to stop you guys for a second. I don't think you get just how much of a win this was. I don't think you guys really understand just how much of a win Darlisa is. Claire's win was incredible, and I love Claire. But this is an earthquake. She is not a previous office holder. She was in the Gaza encampment. She said, fuck Kamala Harris. And she not a previous office holder. That's the most important thing. Like, she did not have a base. She wasn't an assembly member. Brand new candidate. Very young. And she defeated the leader of the Hispanic caucus, 5-time incumbent, who had the endorsements of like Hakeem Jeffries and the governor. This was the establishment at AIPAC at full flight. And they saw Darlisa coming and they fought her tooth and nail. They didn't take it for granted. It was a slugfest between DSA and the establishment. And they got fucking owned.
90% or so to vote is going to come out of Manhattan.
Oh my God, you guys.
Call up that part of the district right here. You see Chevalier lead.
And by the way, chat, when I saw this clip, I made a reaction. I made a post. Wait, why isn't it here? Where's my Hutch post? I made fun of him for being bald. Out of my media tab, chat. Hold on. The fuck is my I own you Hutch post? Someone link it to me. I said I owned his soul. Oh, here it is. I fucking own your soul. There's more? Okay.
There's like a Slack channel of like a dozen Fox News producers, and they're all like gearing up for fucking 24/7 coverage of this lunatic. It is going to be a fucking salvo in conservative media about this candidate, you guys. She's going to win. I mean, like, she's going to Congress.
Now, one of the things I need you guys to understand is that to be Hutch, you have to be a generational psychic cuck. He is a acolyte of destiny who is a notorious cuck. And the reality is that they would do that to anyone, you dumb fuck. They did it to Obama. They did it to Clinton. They did it to Kamala Harris. They're going to do it to everybody, you worthless sack of shit. The only difference is that Darlisa actually motivates new people to come out and vote. She's actually promising real shit. She's actually speaking to people's moral intuitions and moral and giving moral opprobrium to Israel, a fascist settler state that you worshipped. Why did you worship Israel? I don't even think you're smart enough to be aware of geopolitics. You did so because you were triangulating with destiny against Hasan. You guys don't have any intuitions, but regular people aren't like you, you fucking disgusting worm. They see what's happening in Gaza. They see our bombs are doing it, and they want it to end. And they thought the Democratic Party was the party of morality, and it said, no, we're not. We're going to spend more on Israel. And so all those disgusting establishment Democrats have been exposed. They've been unmasked, and the masses are coming for you. And it's not just in deep blue cities. In Maine, in Michigan, you're going to see the same outcome. When Abdul El Sayed wins in Michigan, when Graham Plattner wins in Maine, the people, whether it's in blue states or whether it's in purple states, they're coming for you, my friend. They're getting rid of this decrepit billionaire Zionist establishment that has abandoned the working class for 40 years. The end of the Clinton era, the end of neoliberalism is nigh. The end of Zionism is nigh, and we're going to give you health care, Hutch. I'm going to make sure that when we pass Medicare for all, it includes a hair transplant because you don't look good bald. Your head is looking greasy. It's not looking good. And there's kind of a weird lump in shape. Minoxidil, I think he's beyond that. I think he needs a hair transplant from his back.
Apply to DSA. You have my full blessing to not like lend support to Valdez or Chevalier. These are safe blue seats. They are not gonna lose
sub alert? I've
in
never
November.
seen it before.
They're gonna win. You have my blessing to talk as much shit about them as possible.
I think one of the things that makes Hutch a dumb fuck is like people like you shit talking us just makes us more popular. When regular people see the disgusting, like 200 viewer Zionist scum shit talking these people, we look more authentic. People think, oh, these guys might actually represent change. We want you to. That's what you don't understand. That's why Donald Trump won and he got basically 0 newspaper endorsements. The USA Today, the fucking corporate newspaper, which never endorses a president, endorsed Hillary Clinton. The entire media establishment was behind Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump won. You think that Fox News commercials are going to change the outcome? You're a fucking idiot. And you're never, ever going to win with that attitude, you stupid cuck bitch. You dog, you worm. always acting like you're getting caught, always reacting to Republican lies. Nobody gives a shit about that anymore. The only people that did are brain dead liberals like Hutch. That's how the establishment was able to beat Bernie. They have brain dead liberals like Hutch who thought, well, I love Bernie Sanders' policies, but he's not electable. And then they vote, we got to vote for the safe choice. And the safe choice kept losing. Now, finally, your grandma, your mom, your aunt, they're baying for the blood of Republicans more than me. They don't believe your media. They don't believe the media anymore. They don't believe your evaluations of electability because you don't know what you're talking about, Hutch. You're wrong about everything, and you always have been. And that's why even in the New York Times, they are admitting that Israel support is fatal. We're changing it, Chad. It's not Mike was right. It's Mike is right. There ain't no historical element to it. All the goats are recognizing it. Do you think some media calling it Democratic Tea Party moment might be helpful for the boomers to understand and not get hung up on? So I don't give a shit. Boomers aren't hung up. Who gives a fuck? They don't care. This is what you guys need to understand. When somebody asks, do you think socialism is good? A person like, I'm not really sure about that. That's not a signal that they don't like our policies or our candidates. The vast majority of people don't know what that means. Hell, half you socialists don't know what socialism means. Funny Hutch clip.
Not only winning, she's
33,
fucking crushing it.
Right on what it's been, 86%. Again,
Mamdani fucked us!
Much smaller area to begin with. And
you know, like, we need to get that as a sound. Mods! Put this on the soundboard.
Crushing it.
Right on what it's been, 86%. Again,
Mamdani fucked us!
Much smaller area to begin with.
I want that on the soundboard immediately!
With an SBI's running out of opportunities, 86% of the vote right there, still a quarter of the vote to come, and Chevalier just got a massive, relatively speaking, a massive update in her favor. She just won that.
God, he's so bad at it. Like the reason why Destiny and Hutch play video games and Vosh play video games while they're watching news is because they don't know anything and they have absolutely nothing to add. This is actually a violation of copyright, just so you know, because there's no transformative nature of it. It's not fair use. They're just literally piping the feed and they're stealing from MSNBC. Like when I watch MSNBC, I disagree with the analysis and provide my own, or I provide additional supporting information that substantially changes it. This is just stealing MSNBC's feed. This guy is fucking useless. And if he got sued, he would lose.
Last update essentially by 20 points over SBI, meaning district-wide.
The Israel subreddit is having a full meltdown. Seriously, fuck Mamdani and his shameless campaigning for these tanky fucks. Having lived in NYC my whole life, which was always against Mamdani, seeing him as a populist who utilized popular talk on affordability. This is from Tel Aviv. This guy's not a New Yorker. His account is Narwhal Witch 8046. And he immediately garbles the grammar in the first sentence. This is from Tel Aviv. In times of high inflation, to cover up his DSA beliefs and tan-lie background, I think he means tanky. But beyond his underlying beliefs, I'm just so grossed out by how much he has used his actual resources and powers as mayor of New York City to bat for his batshit crazy tanky buddies in this election. Like, holy fuck. Bringing them into City Hall and endorsing them in front of the press, bringing them in front and center to exclusive Knicks championship celebrations, making professional advertisements, endorsing them, using mayoral security cars and personnel to transform them away from events, etc. Never done by a New York City mayor, at least in modern times. No less by one whose whole campaign was essentially enough of this political crap and focus on foreign stuff, and let's just make the city affordable. I was already pissed seeing how he's been rubbing shoulders with and inviting crazy anti-Kamala and Biden pro-Pally and frankly anti-Semitic folks to special events. Linda Sarsour, lots of social media personalities, but this campaign cycle really was the final blow. I can't believe a politician is campaigning. Now, I must have missed the Destiny post when Nancy Pelosi traveled down to Dallas, or excuse me, down to the Rio Grande Valley and campaigned for the most right-wing Trump Democrat by the name of Henry Cuellar. I must have missed when they were mad that she went and campaigned for someone who votes with the Republicans more than any other Democrat, who votes with the left 10% of the time. Even as he was getting indicted by the FBI, for corruption, Nancy Pelosi went down there to campaign for Henry Cuellar, the Zionist Republican who voted against the Democrats on key legislation. She had absolutely no problem with that. They had no problem with this guy, this Republican, going down and getting supported and winning by 0.6% of the vote against Jessica Cisneros, losing by 200, a little bit more than 200 votes, making our party worse, our party less effective, our party less unified, who gives voice to all the Republican attacks and corruption. She could have shut her fucking mouth, but here we are. U.S. Congressman Henry Cuellar charged with bribery and acting as a foreign agent. You don't think there was whispers of that in D.C.? Why didn't she run again? She would have won this go around. Sometimes running for Congress is a fucking hell on earth. Did you see what happened to Dsa at the end? Especially if you're an anti-Zionist. It's a nightmare. It takes all your time, all your resources. You annoy and alienate every person who loves you because you do nothing but ask for their help. Every friend you ask for money. Do you know what it's like to call every single one of your friends and ask for money? Do you know what it's like to call every single one of your family members and ask for money? Do you know what it's like to have every moment being attacked, every part of your life, every embarrassing moment, every scandal, every mistake is pumped to every single one of your neighbors in full volume, that you have no privacy? It's very hard work to run, especially as an insurgent. So I bring this up to say, fuck you, suck my fucking dick, and it's only begun. And quite frankly, you guys better hope it's Dsa and not somebody like me. They are the compromise. They're not the tanky fucks. I am. We're the next wave after them. These are the compromise. And then when I come in, we're not going to be nice about it. We're going to put your friends, your Zionist friends, in prison. We're going to put David Frum in prison. We're going to put the entire editorial board of The Atlantic in prison for fomenting genocide. This is the compromise. Now, when I say that, chat, I'm just saying those people that have articulated a crime under American and international law should be prosecuted. David Frum, Mr. Axis of Evil fame, who lied us into the Iraq war, he should go to prison. Donald Trump should go to prison for fomenting genocide in Gaza, an illegal war on Iran. I think what I'm trying to say is that these people are really bad at this, and we own you. We have no compassion, and we ask no compassion from you. When our time comes, we shall not make excuses for the terror. Karl Marx wrote that because his pamphlet, his newspaper, was being banned and censored. He was basically the equivalent of deplatformed, and that was his last post. Okay. Dsa is a real champion. She has people giving her death threats and following her family around for birth certificates. Exactly. And she's a fucking congresswoman now. So not only were we right, I think you guys need to understand, my prediction was dead on balls accurate. I'm sorry, Jules posted this. Jules should have posted this on our YouTube as well. The wording in the article reminds me of what you said about needing liberals to understand that they are now subservient to Zoran, not the other way around. Exactly. Victories by pro-Palestine Democrats show the party's shift on Israel. 3 Democrats who have been outspoken in their criticism of Israel won primaries in New York on Tuesday, signaling their party's new skepticism of the country and its actions. I wonder if there were tears running from Mr. Epstein's cheeks. I was worried about Daria until I saw you say she was going to win. Of course. Once I saw that, if you want to know my secret, once I saw that Espaillat was below 40 some, he was I saw a poll from his own internal, and he was at 40 something, and I was like, you're cooked. Anytime an incumbent is below 50% in an internal poll, they're fucking cooked, because they're a known entity, which means that the voters are looking for an alternative. And usually what that means is they don't know who the alternative is yet. So as long as the alternative isn't a complete loser, that people will break toward them. It was 35. Oh, there you go. Did you see Ryan Grimm say like over and over that Darlisa was probably going to lose last night? LOL, pissed me off. No, I didn't, but he was wrong. You think it stops here, Cupcake? I mean, we are. Okay, good. I was going to say we already won Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. The arrows should be coming out of Pittsburgh. The arrows should be coming out of Philadelphia. The arrows should be you know what I mean? Like we already won. We've already got our Appalachian outpost in the Paris of Appalachia, Pittsburgh, PA. You know, sometimes, chat, last night, as the first results came in, I sat down and with tears in my eyes, I turned to Vio and I said,
It feels like the left is unstoppable, and all those feelings are valid.
the other thing that I think everybody needs to understand is that a lot of Democrats that were previously pro-Israel are going to turn on Israel. No better image illustrates how hollowed out the mobilizational capacities of these unions and community organizations are. They have no social base anymore, yet trumpet their rootedness. They replace the old political machines with a void that they can't even rule over. And like, when I saw the Working Families Party and Make the Road and all these like groups go against DSA, I want you to understand that they don't have the motion, right? It's not that they have no motion, but they don't have the motion compared to DSA. And it's something that I've been saying on this stream for a while, that the Working Families Party, the Warrenite left, you know how I've been talking about how they've been a problem ever since 2019, when Elizabeth Warren decided to run for president, when there was a clear leader of the left-wing coalition in Bernie Sanders, and then all the organizations, the like non-profit industrial complex, and how they are constantly working against their own grassroots in favor of these like soft liberals losers, these lib-left losers that regular people hate. These people needed to be disciplined. Here's you picking the vibe shift early last year. Okay. I don't know. I feel like we're going to win. I don't know why. You know, clip this in a year or two and maybe I'm just crazy, but it honest to God feels like we're going to win. I could just feel the energy and I could feel the way that people are turning away from corporate media, which was the last way that Democrats could control their base. And it feels like people are finally just turning away from it in a really fundamental way. It feels like we're gonna win. So yesterday wasn't a change. The inflection point was Dsa Mamdani's win. That was the inflection point. That was the power shift. This is just a revealing of the reality of the status quo of the Democratic Party. What's happening is not that things are changing, they are being revealed. I just understand how to analyze what's going on better than other people. I am one of those people who I actually understand how to read the voter and the masses. I actually am not an arrogant asshole who thinks I know better than everybody. I actually pay attention to what they're saying, so I can read the vibe shifts. That's why I could tell you that Kamala Harris was going to lose. That's the thing that I need you to understand. I can read it both ways. Like, I'm not just someone who's like always saying that we're going to win. Right? I'm not somebody who's always up here going like, oh, we're going to win. Yay, everything's great. I also can read it the other way when it's going against us. And that's what is the difference. Like last year when everybody else was saying like Kamala Harris is going to win, I was saying, no, actually, she's going to lose everything. And I was actually attacked for that. People hated my guts for that. On election night, I went on election night and I told 200,000 liberals Kamala Harris was cooked and she deserved to be cooked because of her position on Gaza. That shit should have been obvious. If it was obvious, then how come nobody else could see it? How come everybody else was coping and like attacking me for it if it was obvious? All right, chat, we've had enough of me pumping my own ego. And again, I'm not saying this to pump my own ego. It's not about me feeling things. It's that I want people to understand that when I analyze shit and I say we need to run more people for office and we need to be more involved, it's because it's about the movement. And I want people to look at my track record and say, Mike is saying we have an opportunity. Let's fucking go. My ex-girlfriend wanted to break up with me for how much weight have I gained? Is that what you... I think I'm like, I gotta say, I think for 42 years old, I'm looking pretty good, to be honest with you. I think I look pretty good for 42. Hutch chatters keep coming, all four of them. Yeah, no, it's the same guy from the other day. That was the guy we made fun of, right? We went to his account. But let's see if he deleted all the clips. We went back and we saw a clip of him and we all laughed. It's this guy. That's Pocket saying. That's the guy that came in here to try to insult me, my looks. It's this guy. He wanted more attention. Honestly, you're welcome, bro. I want to give you attention because it makes me feel good that you're getting attention, because a narcissist with no supply, that's sad. I'm not running for office, but if I were, there were some of the lessons I'd take away from what happened in New fuck Hunter Biden. Like, guys, I'm not like you. Like, don't show me shit like this. If, in my way, Hunter Biden would fucking... I'm not a liberal like you. I don't think it's cute that that man profited off of Ukrainian corruption and was like on the Amtrak board as it crumbled because his fucking corrupt father was a senator and he was smoking crack and stealing money with both hands. I don't think that's cute. I don't like the fact that his father was putting black men in prison for having a small amount of crack rock while his son was banging those same drugs all around the country and being jetted to every high-end rehab, right? As Hunter Biden himself was around smoking crack all over the fucking world, Joe Biden was putting poor black men in prison for life. It's not fucking cute. I want the Bidens to suffer. His father's a fucking genocide heir, and him and his dumb stepmom tried to keep him in the race and led to fucking Trump winning. He's scum. And I have no chill for these fucking scum. Fuck that entire family. I hope they fucking die from natural causes. And the fact that you don't bothers me. You're not a socialist unless your hate is pure. If you don't despise the Bidens with every fiber of your being, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're showing me Hitler's son and saying how cute is his analysis. Fuck you. He's grifting off of our fucking movement. He's a fraud. Keep that away from me. If you're gonna have fun with your liberal group, stay the fuck away with me with that trash. Hunter Biden has joined White House meetings as he stays close to the president post-debate. Hunter Biden has joined meetings with President Joe Biden, his top aides, as his father returned to the White House from Camp David on Monday evening, according to 4 people familiar with the matter. The president's son has been talking to senior White House staff members, these people said. At the height of the Gaza genocide, Hunter Biden was in the White House. And on his way out, in shame and defeat, Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden for his crimes, his gun crimes that his father had created to target black men. So that black men with small amounts of drugs who owned firearms for personal protection would be treated like a violent criminal and sent to prison for 20 years. And then when his own son was having the laws enforced equally against him, he gave him a fucking scrawled pardon on his way out. I hate Hunter Biden. I hate everybody who likes Hunter Biden. I don't think it's fucking cute. He's scum. And don't show it to me. I don't know how many times I have to say it. It all comes down to the Dems losing to Trump again. In 2021, DMFI ads went after Nina Turner for having badmouthed Biden. They worked because Biden had just banished Trump, and Dems loved him for it. Harris and Biden then handed power back to Trump, so Dem voters don't care if you disrespect them. Yes, that's what I said. Right now, anti-ICE protesters are being given 50 years in prison for playing sound outside of detention facilities. And Democrats don't give a shit. When Hunter Biden goes and gets arrested at an ICE facility, and maybe I'll change my mind. Instead of grifting online as an influencer because his father is no longer there to suck teat from. I'm sorry for the vibe shift, but god damn it, dude. Like, how are you ruining my day by bringing Hunter Biden in? How are you polluting our victory by associating it with that scum? All right, we're going to get the vibes back. Sorry about that, chat. I know you're just trying to have fun. But whenever I see the Biden name, I think of those children that were burning in the Gaza hospitals. You guys remember that picture? The silhouette of the patients in the bed that were on fire. Anything associated with Biden makes that come back to my mind. And I think the only thing that Biden should do is they should follow the lesson of the heroes of the pro-Palestinian cause and go stand outside the Israeli embassy and do what needs to be done. Protest against the genocide. Neera Tanden on CNN having to react to the wave. Let's watch some of the maulding.
The decade of socialism, it's coming to a neighborhood near you. When I said we were going to let 1,000 Zorons bloom, this is what I meant. We got Claire Valdez and numerous other wonderful DSA candidates that are outperforming expectations tonight. And that's because the American people are tired of the same old business as usual politics, the corruption, the ineptitude, the feckless nature of the Democrats that don't want to fight back against the growth of fascism in this country. This is Americans fighting back. It's only the beginning.
We're not in the business of winning.
Like I like the Hunter Biden stuff. I'm now locked in. Like, I need you guys to understand that the Ashley St. Clairs of the world and the Hunter Bidens of the world, they're grifting you. And they're taking up space that could go to people that actually deserve to have it. Movement leaders, DSA members, leaders of the Gaza encampments. Fucking stop.
Diego?
Democratic primaries in state seats that are going to be moved.
Good? Okay.
Primary, in order for us to be able to take back control of the House of Representatives, we got to flip seats in tough areas. And at the same time, make sure that Democratic incumbents, people like Tom Swazi.
The decade of socialism.
Let's go back to drinking liberal tears. I understand that everything is about vibes, and I'm changing up the vibes. It's supposed to be a good time, but like, I gotta discipline you because no one else will. Like, no one else will. Everybody else will let this grifting going on. I want you guys to be a burr under the saddle of anybody who's entertaining these grifters. Fuck these grifters. They had nothing to do with our victory, and now they're fucking bandwagoning after it's over, and they're our enemy.
What do you think Democrats not...
And you know, Hunter Biden is not an elected official. He's not a member of the Democratic Party establishment. He has no fucking motion. He's just grifting you for social media clout. Stop it.
in New York City should be learning?
Well, first of all, New York City matters because the two most exciting left-wing candidates are here, AOC and Mamdani, but also this is the stronghold for the establishment, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffrey. This is a battle between the establishment and this insurgency, and the roof is collapsing on the Democratic Party establishment tonight. If Mamdani gets a hat trick, 3 out of 3, this is a new era for the Democratic Party, and you can't write off New York City because this is the place where both, it's the power center for the establishment and the insurgency, and they're going head-to-head tonight. And right now, this is no longer a movement. This is a movement and a machine at the same time. There's just no way to sugarcoat this. If Mamdani pulls off the hat trick, it is a new era in Democratic Party politics.
Well, and if you're a moderate Democrat who's on the ballot this November, Van, I mean, they're all going to get asked about the positions.
By the way, like, so this talking point they're talking about, like, this is their last desperate grasp to scare the hose. Right? The last desperate grasp is, oh, the poor moderate Democrats in swing districts, you're going to have to answer for these people's policies. Right now, in the Pennsylvania 7th District, the Lehigh Valley, probably the #1 target in Pennsylvania. Primary was won by progressive Bob Brooks, president of the Union of the Firefighters, and Medicare for All endorser, Bernie Sanders endorsee. Could he be more left-wing? Yes. Could he be strong against Israel? Yes. I have my problems with him. What I'm trying to say is, in the swingiest districts, there's absolutely no problem with progressive politics on the issues. They're just wrong. Maine, which was held by Susan Collins against Sarah Gideon, who was an establishment Zionist Democrat and ran in 2020 when Joe Biden won the state by 9, got fucking owned by Susan Collins. Graham Plattner, anti-Israel, anti-war, pro-Medicare for all, pro-billionaire taxes, pro-trans rights. You run down the line. He is woke with a woke mind and a MAGA body. He's out there and he's leading Susan Collins. In that will be a flip from red to blue. Abdul El Sayed in Michigan leading the primary, a state that Donald Trump won. In purple states and blue states, progressivism is on the rise. So this nonsense is bullshit. What she's really saying is moderate Democrats are going to try to sabotage their own party because they're so ideologically blinkered. And you know what I say? I hope those moderate Democrats who can't defend these positions lose. Fuck them. If they can't change the subject to affordability and what they're going to do for the country, then they deserve to lose. Fuck them. We're going to set out our bold plans for the future because elections are not just about winning. They're about ruling. The campaigns are for the purpose of ruling. What's the point of winning a campaign if you do nothing with power? Power is there to be used. And that's what Dsa Mamdani is showing you. He's showing you a new generation that's going to change the world.
That we're hearing from these other fellow Democrats.
Well, look, I think, from our frontline Democrats will be able to make their case for themselves. I think they'll be able to do okay. We got a lot of national security Democrats in other parts of the country, but this is a big deal tonight. And I think that, look, I don't know what you want me to say here. This is a straight up battle between the establishment and the insurgency, and the establishment is getting its butt kicked tonight in New York City.
CNN has a projection. I'm going to go straight to John King over at the Magic Watch.
And that projection, Abby, means that the mayor, Mamdani, does get a sweep of the 3 races in which he endorsed in Democratic primaries tonight. The Democratic Socialist candidate, Danielisa Avila Chevalier, beating a powerful Democratic, long-standing Democratic incumbent, Adriano Espaillat. Much more narrow race than the other 2 districts here, but this is, again, a Democrat. This is a mayor making a statement. This is a candidate making a statement. You're having the conversation with your panel about we want new, we want different, and yes, we want more liberal. In this particular case, Espaillat is certainly a Democrat and a progressive, but this is part of the generational.
There is no longer progressive except Palestine. For the longest time, a lot of people have been progressive except Palestine. And the except Palestine part is how you know they're not actually progressive. They just hold these positions as paper positions so that they can win their seats and hold off a challenge from the left. But the Israel issue is exposing the fake progressives. Do you know that Hakeem Jeffries is on the Medicare for All bill as a co-sponsor? Do you think Hakeem Jeffries supports Medicare for All? If push came to shove, do you think Hakeem Jeffries is whipping votes for Medicare for All? No! It's a fake position he holds because he's trying to head off a left-wing challenge. The real position, the position from which all other positions emerge, is on Palestine. That's why it's so useful as a litmus test, because there's a clear genocide happening in Gaza. If somebody is not saying that, if they're not saying we need to take weapons away from Israel, then they are not actually progressive. And that's why, and the voters see that and they know that. Adam Hamaway said the exact same thing. Huge congratulations to Dara Lisa. That's another one of my mutuals. How many mutuals do you have in Congress, chat? How many mutuals? Saldov DSA posters. How many mutuals do you have in Congress? Same as you? That's not true. That's Summer Lee. I've got Ilhan Omar. I've got, I've got Dara Lisa. I've got Claire. Like, what are you saying? No, you fucking don't. You're making me sound like a dick. I was proud to endorse her and so thrilled that we have proven once more there's no such thing as progressive except for Palestine. So fucking true. So true. That's all I have to say is so true.
Divide. We've also seen the Democratic Party. We want new, we want younger, but there's 1 for the mayor, there's 2 for the mayor, and there's 3 tonight. So the conversation.
The other thing is, I want you guys to understand, like, I don't like Brad Landers, so I haven't been talking about him a lot, but I need you guys to understand that this is Lower Manhattan. This is Wall Street. And Dan Goldman is an incumbent. Dan Goldman didn't have any scandals, personal scandals. Dan Goldman was not under indictment. He's just pro-Israel. And he got fucking destroyed. I don't think I've ever seen an incumbent Democrat lose by this much. Like, this is a political earthquake. If somebody like Dan Goldman can be absolutely fucking ripped out of his seat this hard in Manhattan, Cumstered and motherfucking dumpstered because of his position on Palestine, there isn't one Democrat that is not vulnerable. Hey, Jules, I have a task for you, Jules. Jules Verne, listen up. Or any of my other amazing chatters like Grev or whatever. What percentage of Democratic congresspeople are in seats that are D plus 15 or greater? And then do one for D plus 10 and D plus 20 as well. Just tell me how many Democrats are in seats that blue. Because you're going to hear a lot of well, they can only work in deep blue seats. And it's going to end up that 180 members of the House of Representatives are in seats that are D plus 15 or greater. That means DSA has 180 targets. I'm not a numbers guy. Notes, I'll do it after finishing the YouTube video. Okay, I don't want to make you do all the work, but other people.
Is going to be, Abby, number 1, how much power does Zoran Mamdani have in New York City politics? Number two, he's also making some enemies tonight, let's be honest. He's been mayor 6 months, and he's gone against 2 Democratic incumbents and the wishes of the retiring Democratic incumbent in the 3rd district there. But he's making a statement for the city, for the state, and he's also making a statement of where he thinks the Democratic Party should go nationally, both for the next 5 months and into 2028. So as you're discussing with your panel, can you export this? Can you sell what he wants to do in New York City, where his candidates clearly are winning tonight, where he won clearly, convincingly? Can you sell it? Well, he wants to be part of that debate, and tonight he's proving he gets a big role in it.
You know, this is a really important conversation because Zoran Mamdani, thank you, John King, Zoran Mamdani is, he took a big swing, right, as we were just discussing. And you don't take those kinds of swings unless you think you win, and he did. And this last race that we just called, just 1 second, because I think this is important. Dsa Avila Chevalier is one of the more controversial candidates. CNN earlier in the year reported that she had deleted previous Twitter posts expressing views for abolishing police, prisons, borders, seizing private property, nationalizing major industries, calling into question Israel's right to exist. She spoke to a friend of the show, Ested Herndon, in a recent interview, said that all deportations are immoral. So all of that being said, there she is defeating a Democratic incumbent, a powerful member of the Hispanic caucus, who's been there. The chairman. He's been there for a really long time. I mean, you could say that all of this is just controversial. She's a bad candidate, but she's likely to just be the congressperson. And does it not suggest, though, that people, the voters, looked at that and they were like, we don't really care about that. We care about all these other things?
I think that's the problem for the greater Democratic Party in this district, or in these 3 districts. You have the ones who are the furthest to the left, who
Here's what I think everybody needs to understand, is that the way they say this shit is really a degradation of the majority of the country, right? They're saying this furthest to the left as if that means something. We can take literally every single district, almost every single district the Democrats have are safe districts. There's very few districts that are actually swing districts. And even in those swing districts, policies like Medicare for all or being anti-Israel are popular. So there's literally no district in the country that Democrats could plausibly win where being a DSA leftist is actually going to lose it for you. Like, that's the actual reality. House Dems reeling from New York primary results. One called it an earthquake. Huge defeat for leadership. It was a tough night, said Representative Meeks, Queens Dem Party Chair. Senior House Dem asked if members are worried. Yes, they are. Let's fucking go! And again, look at this. Look at this. Why is Axios' Congress reporter blocking me? Because he's a Zionist, and they're desperate to try to silence me and deplatform me. They learned their lesson from Hasan, okay? They learned their lesson from Hasan. Calling him an anti-Semite isn't working. How do you square that with the actual DSA losses that have happened? The problem that we've had so far has been there hasn't been an effective way for us to translate our online spaces to IRL organizing. And the New York City DSA has shown how to do it. Hasan going to New York City is connecting the internet conversation and the vibes of the regular people with actual political organizing. And that is the connection that is being developed today, which is modern America is based on social media, streaming spaces, alternative media is where young people are getting their information. But to win elections, you must connect that to a geographic location where there's a particular candidate, a particular machine. That is what's being developed in parallel. Everything we're doing in New York City is replicatable in every city. And we've already done it in Philadelphia. We've done it in Pittsburgh. This shit is replicatable in DC. It's happening in Seattle. Hell, fuck, Nithya won in LA. She's a DSA member and she made a whole bunch of horrible mistakes. Massive. We have said for a long time that the power of the online left had yet to be unleashed. We're only now starting to see it. They tried to rat fuck her for Dylan Burns. Embarrassing. Here are the numbers. D plus 10, 115 to 120. D plus 15, 85 to 90. D plus 20, 55 to 60. Only 97 are swing seats. Okay, go ahead and do those same numbers, but based off 2020, not 2024. Do those same things, but off of 2020. Because 2024, you know, that was a really bad year because they lost. Like Kamala Harris was a very weak candidate, so it's gonna make you think that areas are more Republican than they actually are. So go off of 20. Give me a score for off of the 2020 election, not the 2024. All right, mayors. Let's watch some fucking victory. Let's watch some victory speeches. Wait, Daria Lisa came on Democracy Now! Right away. Oh my God.
Brad Lander, we came on the air just a couple of minutes ago as the numbers were still coming in your race. I'm going to do something a little unusual here, so I want you to bear with me. Not many candidates are on CNN when they hear this music. But we do have breaking news, and we can now project that Brad Lander will defeat the incumbent Congressman Dan Goldman in the Democratic primary.
By the way, chat, I don't like Brad Lander at all because he's a liberal Zionist. Everybody knows that. I had a post about Brad Lander when he endorsed Bernie, and it went kind of viral. When he first cross-endorsed Zoran. I don't know if I deleted it because I hate him so much. I might have deleted the post, which kind of sucks. I think I did. God damn it. Where basically I said, by endorsing Zoran, he's setting himself up to go into Congress. Lander and Stringer must be pressured to tell their voters to rank Mamdani. Wow, I forgot that I said this. And then it ended up happening. I feel like there's someone in New York City DSA listening to me. Yeah, I deleted the post. God damn it. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Here's my feeling. I don't trust Brad Lander. He's going to stab us in the back. He's a Zionist. Every time the left gets accused of being anti-Semitic, he's there to be like, that's kind of anti-Semitic. You guys be more careful. But his win is a win of Mamdani, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, this is our win. So I want to take credit of it. I want to take credit for it, but I don't trust Brad Lander as far as I could throw him.
For New York's 10th congressional district. And sir, obviously, since we have you here live on air as we are making this call.
Brad Lander absolutely crushed the pro-Israel sycophant. You love to see it. The funny part is Brad Lander is also a pro-Israel sycophant. Glad Dan lost, but hope Brad loses next time to somebody who's actually not a pro-Israel sycophant. There is a certain type of ultra that likes being a lifestylist. And whenever they see the left winning, they try to find the cloud in every silver lining. They try to find some sort of negativity because they have depression. I think a lot of people have PTSD from the Gaza genocide, and I completely understand. I completely understand. But if you actually hate Israel, perhaps you should hype up our victories over the Israel lobby. It's just like they just can't do it. I mean, I think one would vote in Congress to deny Israel military aid and the other would not. So that seems like a tangible win. When Zionism is in its death throes, we need to be on the offense. Oh, my Lord in heaven. Someone saved me from the ultras rotting my brain. I went into the Bad Empanada subreddit to ask them who they support. They said no one but Bad Empanada. That sounds like Destiny's cult. The 2020 numbers are similar, but a little bit better. 120 to 125 Democrats that are D plus 10 seats. 90 to 95 are on D plus 20. 60 to 65 seats are in less than that, are in swing seat range, and only 24 of them were D. So in other words, 24 Democrats are in swing seats. Thank you. That is some very good info, and I'm gonna start making some arguments about that. Basically, anybody telling you that DSA only works in deep blue areas is saying that DSA works in 80% of Democratic seats are going to be held by DSA.
Thank you, Whip. I first want to express my condolences to Hakeem Jeffries for the devastating defeat that the voters of New York imposed upon him last night in his own backyard in Democrat primaries. You could call it the Bolshevik Revolution of 2026, but the Mamdani takeover of the Democrat Party is official now. We've been talking about it for months, this move to the Marxist socialist left by the Democrat Party. They've become an unrecognizable party. You cannot recognize who the Democrats are anymore. This is surely not your father or grandfather's Democrat Party. They've fully embraced socialism. You look at some of the things that they talk about. They want to defund the police. They want to basically just get rid of the free market capitalist system that we have. And they are backing it up with their votes here in Congress. Lisa talked about it. Our conference chair talked about it in relation to the working families tax cut. Today We look at global oil prices, and they just dropped below $75 a barrel this month. That's because of President Trump's leadership. And it's also because Republicans worked with President Trump to lower gas prices, to put smart energy policy in place so that we can produce our own energy. Now that the president has an agreement, an MOU with Iran, you've seen those prices drop dramatically in the last few days. That would not have happened if we didn't pass laws that opened up American energy exploration everywhere from Anwar in Alaska down to the Gulf of America. We opened it up, and every single Democrat voted no because they want higher gas prices.
We're gonna drill in all the national wildlife refuges and keep our war for Israel going. How the fuck do you think that's gonna play out?
They're going to look at New York City and go, oh, the Democratic Party is so far left. I actually saw one guy who's fairly respected have the nerve to say, oh, well, this just proves that if you're the Democratic Party, you have to be crazy to win. I'm thinking, wait, this from Trump's MAGA Republican Party? But, you know, they're going to focus on New York City, and they're going to ignore the admiral winning in South Carolina, a woman who's committed her entire life to protecting and defending the United States of America. They're also going to ignore a woman just up the road that's going to be running against Mike Lawler, who was a Bronze Star was awarded the Bronze Star 3 times. She was Special Ops, one of the first women to ever lead Special Ops units. She toured Afghanistan and Iraq, had 6 tours there. A bona fide war hero. And this is, I gotta say, this is what the Democrats are proving themselves really to be really pragmatic. If you look at what they did last night, New York City, they go far, far left. That'll work for New York City. In places like Lawler's district, which is a swing district, South Carolina, 1 swing district, finding these military heroes, much like they did with the New Jersey race, Mikey Sherrill, and in Virginia, Spamberger, while they were electing a socialist in New York City, Mamdani. It worked then. We'll see if it works this fall.
Yeah, these are congressional races. These are not statewide races. So it's not terribly surprising that someone to the far left won the Upper West Side or won.
By the way, I agree with them. If it's not terribly surprising that somebody on the far left won in deep blue cities, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to win everywhere. Actually, you know what I could actually use? I want a map of all the districts that are D plus 10 or more. And I would have popped that up and say, these are all the districts that are D plus 10 or more in 2020. These are the districts that a DSA candidate could easily win. Every Democrat in every single one of these seats is a target.
Areas of Brooklyn. It is impressive that Mayor Mamdani, in his short term in office, was able to sort of bless these candidates, and some of them winning overwhelmingly and unseating incumbents. Dan Goldman losing by 30 points in his district, the incumbent, and Congressman Espaillat, who is a major figure in Congressional Hispanic Caucus, the leader of that caucus as well. He was unseated in a closer race there. So, yes, as the New York Times says this morning, Mamdani showed he can be a kingmaker, but to make this a national story and not look at what you just discussed, which is the race up in Westchester County, where Mike Lawler is going to have a tough fight because a lot of the support he's shown for Donald Trump, and in South Carolina and other places where it turns out, Jonathan Lemire, in specific congressional districts, Democrats pick candidates that they think can win. In this case, in New York City, some of those were socialists.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats feel good in recent cycles since the 24 disaster about finding the right candidates for the right races. I was talking to some Democrats yesterday who reminded us, as we look towards this November, the success that Democrats had running moderates for the governor's races in New Jersey.
Except those politicians are now really unpopular, and Mamdani is more popular. And again, this conversation, nothing can happen that will make these guys change, right? Graham Plattner won the primary in Maine, swing district, swing state, doesn't make them change their mind. It's like it doesn't exist. Abdul El Sayed leading in Michigan, swing state, doesn't make them change their mind. Literally nothing can happen to make them change. This is a set of talking points. They stick to it over and over and over again. They cannot and they will not stop.
Virginia. They won both. But yet, and we're seeing the same there in South Carolina. They feel very bullish about a lot of races coming up this fall. But yes, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. And in New York City, certainly that's the story here, is Zohran Mamdani, you know, in his early days in office, having significant coattails, being a kingmaker and picking off. You're choosing, Joe, to use his political capital to pick off some incumbents, to put in some of his sort of more of like-minded fellow travelers, more to the left than others. I mean, Dan Goldman has a record that a lot of Democrats pretty happy with the exception of some of the support for Israel in the months after the war. And also, there's also here in New York, there's sort of the Latino political machine also showing its age. I think that's part of it as well. That's a subplot to what happened here. But no doubt, what worked in New York City, Democrats aren't trying to replicate it other places. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah, you know, a lot of things going on here. And Jonathan, we're going to have you put on your daily news hat here. I personally thought when Mamdani came out and endorsed all these people, I thought too soon. Because even if you win in those cases, and he did, and he should be saluted, it's extraordinary political machine there, and he's going to build a lot of power as a kingmaker in New York City. A lot of scar tissue when you're mayor of New York City with a lot of people, even if you win those races. But he's proven himself to be a brilliant political operator. I'm sure he'll sort through that. I just you know, hearing a lot of people talking about the anti-Semitism in New York City, and last night proved the anti-Semitism in New York City, and this is Mamdani's fault, this is so-and-so's fault, this is this left. No, it's not. It's really not. If you want to blame anybody for what happened last night, in my opinion, if you want to blame anybody, Jonathan, I think you have to blame Benjamin Netanyahu. 4 years of maximum.
I feel like so much in Latin America is going under the radar. Listen, I don't want to perma-ban you. But I'm almost there. I would say you're on your last legs.
Aims 4 years of ahistoric goals in the Middle East that anybody from Dr. Brzezinski to even me could have told anybody.
I think, you know, again, this is the type of stuff that I'm going to do that other people aren't going to do. But here's what I'm going to say. You got to get some more, like, people skills, bro. You got to learn how to read a room. You got to learn the tyranny of the annoying, where you can't change the channel by being annoying in my chat. All you could do is alienate yourself from one of the most important communities on Twitch for the left. You're making everybody uncomfortable. You're ruining the vibe because you don't understand how the game is played. I do, you don't. Why I have 5,000, you don't. And I'm not saying that I'm better than you. I just understand that we have to have a coherent narrative and we have to talk about these things that people are interested in. Because if we don't, our enemies will take all the attention. We just had a massive electoral victory for anti-imperialist leftists in New York City yesterday. It's not even 12 hours later. And you're telling me to talk about some story that doesn't have the same level of attention or desire to look at. Are you okay? Stop it. I'm sorry. Hey, I love puzzles. I just love puzzles. How you doing? I saw your tweet about Daria Lisa. That was really cool of you. I need people to lock the fuck in, man. We got to push these Wisconsin DSA endorsed candidates. We will.
For the past 20 years, it's not going to work. And I've said it all along. There's always blowback in the Middle East. The idea that you're going to be able to brutalize children and women in Gaza with bombing.
Wait, wait a minute. You guys were telling everybody that the Gaza genocide didn't matter. Also, and this is another moment. This is another moment of reckoning. Every single left-wing influencer who told you after the Kamala Harris lost the election, it was because that Gaza was irrelevant. You need to stop listening to them. You need to stop listening to them. A lot of liberals wanted to say it's because she was a black woman. Daria Lisa was a black woman, an Afro-Latina woman. She fucking won. A lot of people try to point out that DSA has a lot of white people in it. But notice that we don't care about the race or the gender of the people that are leading us. We pick black men. We pick black women. We pick Latinos, Latinas. We have a multiracial working class coalition. Most of our leaders are people of color. And it's people try to point out that the supporters are white as if that's a bad sign. That's a good sign. It's a good thing that you have white people picking black leaders. That's the America I want to live in. Why are people trying to make a good thing into a bad thing? It's because they're trying to defend the status quo, which is white domination. And they're using woke language against you. Kamala Harris was not defeated because she was a black woman. Kamala Harris was defeated because she refused to separate from Joe Biden, a white man who is more unpopular than her on her positions on Israel. She refused to defend immigrants. She refused to defend the promise of America. She capitulated to the center. She walked around with Liz Cheney, and people were exhausted from the wars and the fact that she promised no change. That's why I'm going to be supporting a Latina young woman for president in 2028, because I know the American people are ready for her to lead. They're ready for a female president. They're ready for a woman of color in the White House. They just have to be a person who's worthy of the office, who is going to fight for all of us. And I think it's disgusting that a lot of liberals tried to foreclose AOC's possibility because they're going to say, well, she's a Latino woman. She can't win. Just look at Kamala Harris, as if AOC and Kamala Harris are the same thing. We need to also push Michigan's 13th district candidate, Donovan McKinney. I haven't even barely talked about DC on my streams, but DC is another example of a multiracial working class coalition that does include some white people. Any successful political movement in America needs white people because that's the math. White people are a majority in the country. If you don't have any white people, you literally cannot win. And it doesn't mean center white people. It doesn't mean center whiteness. It just means don't try to discredit a movement because it includes some white people. Like, that's insane. Even if she won, AOC would do nothing with power. A more neutered Obama at best. Here's what I would, listen. I'm not a comfort streamer. I'm not a comfort streamer, so I'm gonna say it. Stop making your clinical depression into politics. Go get medicated. Like, I don't need to hear you go, well, we can't win, nothing will happen, everything is pointless, we should just give up. Go get medicated, bro. It's pathetic. How dare you come into this stream the day after Daria Lisa just wins one of the most incredible upsets in American political history and try to be a doomer. You have any more fucking shame? How much of a loser are you?
My friends, I know many of you have been canvassing for months. And at those canvasses, at those fundraisers, at those events, when we introduce our candidates, we use a language of hope. We say the next assembly member, the next state senator, the next congressperson. Tonight, we use a language of fact. So please join me in welcoming up to the stage Assemblywoman Diana Moreno, Assemblymember David Organ, Assemblywoman Samantha Catan, State Senator Abir Kawas, and the one, the only, Congresswoman Claire Valdez. Now, Claire was.
Can we go ahead and get a Claire was here in the chat? Can we get a Claire was here in the chat? Also, it says Graham Plattner, main Senate candidate, and it's Claire Valdez. Like, what the fuck is this? The Fox News Chiron makers are incredibly incompetent.
Now you're going to hear from every one of these incredible candidates. But before I leave, I just wanted to share a few words with all of you, which is first and foremost, this is your victory. What you all have shown this evening, whether for state assembly, state senate, or Congress, is that a year ago, it was not the end of a political movement. It was the beginning. room, I see those who believed no matter what tweet they read from Michael Lang. They believed. They put that anxiety into shifts. They put it into door knocks, into phone calls. Raise your hand if you canvassed. Those are the hands that won this race, and every single one of these incredible candidates, they are going to be the partners in transforming the most expensive city in the United States of America into one that working New Yorkers can afford. So one more time, let's hear it for Deanna Moreno. Let's hear it for David Orkin. Let's hear it for Samantha Catan. Let's hear it for Abir Kawas. Let's hear it for Claire Valdez. And let's hear it for a politics that will never forget working people. For a politics that is ready to write a new chapter in our party's history. And for a politics that realizes the old politics that got us to this crisis is not the politics that's going to get us out of this crisis. It's time for working people to be back at the heart of our politics. These are the champions who will do it. Thank you all so much. And let's hear it for the Democratic Socialists of America.
I think this is what separates Zoran from every other politician we have, is that Zoran is about the movement. Zoran is about the movement. He is there, and he's picking fights he didn't have to pick. He's taking risks he didn't have to pick. A lot of the time, Bernie and AOC would avoid fights like Daria Lisa. And never in a million years where Bernie or AOC have endorsed Daria Lisa. That fight is fucking insane. The Brad Lander endorsement, that was pretty ballsy. And that is the reality. That's what I'm trying to say, is it's like AOC, the problem I have with her is she's too deferential to the kind of like establishment progressivism that was represented by the Working Families Party and Reynoso against Claire. Whereas Zoran Mamdani will ally with those people, but he understands that it's fundamentally the DSA left that has to lead, and those people have to be on board with us. And if they want to fight with us, we're going to take them on head on. Whereas AOC, I think, tries to be a little bit of too much everything to everyone. You know, I don't want to make it gendered, but it's like, you know, he's being aggressive and she's being like, you know, conciliatory. And I feel like the times call for aggressiveness. And maybe it's because he's a man, he's allowed to get loud. And as a woman, she's really, socialized against it. But to be the leader of this country, we need to have that force and firmness. If I were to talk to AOC, I would say, please look at Claudia Sheinbaum. Please look at the movement that Morena has built in Mexico. Look at the way Claudia presents herself. Unbowed, proud, direct, a leader, takes the fight to her enemies and delivers tangible wins. You don't catch Claudia Sheinbaum, acting like she got caught. You know, she's sitting there with her chest out, her back firm and tall. I want AOC to duplicate that energy. And the same thing with Zoran. You don't see him hiding, right? You rarely see him ducking. She ducks too much. She avoids conflict too much. She needs to lean in. What got her there was, and that's just my advice, right? Like, I want her to win, and she is our leader. Don't you think one needs to present differently when running for mayor compared to president? Part of people see this is cope. Like, I am one of those people that thinks that AOC is wrong for not being more aggressive, but I also don't think it's the end of the world that she disagrees with me on this. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I want her to you know what I mean? Like, I'm allowed to be like, hey, I think you should be more aggressive. It would be good for you, but also not melt down because she disagrees with me. You know what I mean? Like, and here's the thing. Zoran didn't endorse a lot of the candidates running for state legislature. A lot of the candidates. So last night in New York City DSA, we won at the state level and we won at the federal level, right? Zoran didn't endorse a lot of the state assembly and AOC did, right? He endorsed at the federal level and AOC didn't. They kind of together, they endorsed the whole DSA slate. So every DSA candidate had in New York City had either a Zoran endorsement or an AOC endorsement. And AOC is able to go to, people in Congress and be like, hey, listen, I want to be a leader of the caucus. I'm not going to come after your job. But Zoran can run out there and he can do the threat. And it's the same people. It's the carrot and the stick. AOC could be the carrot in Congress and the stick at the state legislature. And Zoran could be the stick for Congress and the carrot at the state legislature. They're in their realm. They are acting in a way that is like conciliatory toward other Democrats in order to help them achieve their goals and policy. Whereas, but if you composite it, they're using their popularity to boost DSA. They're using their popularity to boost the movement. And I think the one thing I would say to AOC is, I wish she had endorsed Claire. I wish she had endorsed Claire. That would have been really smart, because like ultimately you're only talking about there's no incumbent Democrat, and it would have been big for her. She could have like just endorsed the open seat, and it would have been a good. I think it was a mistake to endorse no one. I think like I understand what they're trying to do, and that's my theory that I'm working off of. But I think she should have endorsed Claire, and I know why she didn't. It's because of the Working Families Party, right? She didn't want to step on the toes of the Working Families Party, and the reason why Reynoso was nominated is because he worked his way up. It was his turn within the Working Family Party hierarchy. But DSA, we don't care about your fucking turn. It's no one's turn. We're here to get working power. We're here to get power for the working class. We don't give a shit about your turn. It's an indictment of her strategy that Ro Khanna is on a massive successful PR streak, despite being worse than AOC on basically everything. And the success is pushing him left.
Right. And do you think that reset is possible in the U.S.-Israeli relations while Benjamin Netanyahu is still prime minister?
No, reset is not possible until there's still occupation. It's not just Netanyahu. You have a country that has apartheid over the West Bank and over Gaza. And until that situation is resolved and human rights are recognized, there will not be the kind of reset that you're talking about.
And on the World Cup, what's your message to Australian and British fans who come here with their classic soccer chants? But in this case, they're talking about how Donald Trump is in the Epstein files and that he's a sex offender. What's your message to those fans?
Well, first, I was glad the U.S. won. Second, look, I don't think soccer is a time for politics. There've got to be a few things.
Bro, you could have done such a good job. Why did you fail on this? This is so easy. I'll tell you what the answer should have been. It should have been, they're just saying the truth about Donald Trump. He is a sex offender. He's in the Epstein files. Those fans are not wrong about Donald Trump. He's an embarrassment to America. And that's why we've got to throw him out of power. But I support the athletes of the U.S. team, and they deserve all the credit in their world for their incredible job and the way they're performing out there. And it's a job, and every American should be out there supporting our team. And they have nothing to do with Donald fucking Trump. He's an embarrassment, and he's a joke. And you know what? Those fans got us a little bit. We're embarrassed that he's our president, but don't worry. We're going to beat your team on the field, and we're going to beat Donald Trump's ass in the ballot box. I promise you that. That's what you say. It's not hard, bro. It's not that hard. Like, soccer is no politic. What? Shut the fuck up.
In this world beyond politics that we're not going to let Donald Trump ruin for us. So enjoy the soccer. There's some games in my district in Santa Clara, and that's one thing I won't politicize.
Are you going to any?
I'm going to
And here's the thing, like, the thing about AOC is she's the front runner for the left consolidation. So what she's doing in running a risk-averse campaign, AOC basically believes when the presidential cycle kicks off, she's going to announce her campaign. She's going to have a bunch of bold policy positions. She's going to have an edge in fundraising and name recognition. And she's going to be the most left-wing on policy. And so the fact that she hasn't alienated normie Dems by being hyper-fractional is going to allow a lot of normal Democrats that are to her right to consolidate behind her because they like her vibes. That's her strat. Okay. Now, I don't think it's the worst strat I've ever heard. It makes a lot of sense to me. I just think that there's a lot of risk because she needs to be able to exercise her ability to crack skulls in order for people to feel scared of her. Because to be a leader, you must be a good leader is feared and loved, right? It's better to be feared than loved. It's the best is to be both, right? The best is to be both. But if you're just loved, then sentiment can change and then you lose all your power. So you need to be feared and loved, right? And I feel like AOC is a little, just a smidge too timid. I think she's actually out there fighting quite a bit, actually. She has involved herself in races and won because of them, right? Like Zoran, for example. She went in there and cracked the skulls of the Democratic establishment to endorse Zoran. She didn't have to do that. It would have made her a fraud. She went in there and endorsed Chris Rabb. That was like, she's been in fights, guys. Like, she's not completely out of it. I just wish she had endorsed Claire. I think that was a big mistake. I think not endorsing Lander and Daria Lisa, I mean, I think that was also a mistake because Brad was a shoo-in to win. And so why wouldn't you just take credit for that? And then with Daria Lisa, I think that would have shown some real bravery. But I think she's worried about some of Daria Lisa's posts. Like the wiping my fingers on the American flag shit. That's the kind of shit that I don't think that she cares about the fuck Kamala Harris. I think she cares about the wiping the fingers on the American flag and that kind of stuff. Which again, who cares? But normies might care about that. I think she's being way too sensitive. I don't think they do. But again, that's kind of like, as somebody who's been in politics for so long, that's what it's about. Also, it didn't seem like she was going to win, right? So AOC didn't want to take a black eye. And that's where Zoran showed his leadership. Like, if Zoran could run for president, I'm sorry, AOC, but Zoran is the better candidate, right? Like, if everything was the same, but Zoran was born in America and was a natural born American citizen, I would be saying Zoran should run for president over AOC. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know, right? Like, that's not good. And I'm not saying that because I'm anti-AOC. I'm actually very pro-AOC. Everybody knows that I am. I mean, she just got 87% of the vote in her election. Like, do you understand? Like, this number is Assad numbers for a national political figure. Last night, New York Dems selected 3 Marxists to serve in Congress. This is no exaggeration. These are self-admitted communists who hate Jews and support Hamas. The Democratic Party has been taken over by those who hate America. We must beat them in November. That's what Brad Lander, like, have you seen Tom Cotton speak? In the South chat, they have a phrase called sugar in the gas tank. That's Tom Cotton. That's Lindsey Graham.
What happened in New York last night are the citizens standing up against corporations.
Why is it conventional wisdom that the left should only endorse candidates that are already favored to win? Like, what's the point of an endorsement if you're not tipping the scales to change the outcome? Never said that. I never said that. But there's also a plausibility. You want to endorse at situations where your endorsement matters. There's 2 places you endorse. One, you endorse for what it says about you, and the other times you endorse for what it says about them. And when you're endorsing somebody to help them, meaning they need your help, you want to make sure that they have a chance to win, right? Like, if you're endorsing everybody who might say they agree with you, you're going to look like you don't fucking matter at all. Because, you know what I mean? You're going to discredit yourself as being irrelevant. So there's a very, like, you have to assess whether a person is actually a real person who can win and represent a community. Just because you say you agree with me on policies does not make you a leader. Policies are important because that's what will happen when you're in office. But in order for you to win, you have to be a leader of the community that you're trying to represent. Policies alone are not enough. So obviously, every time you're trying to figure out who you should support, you have to make sure that they're not going to damage you. And furthermore, are they actually going to, do they have a shot of winning? And her calibrations are a little off right now.
Against fascism, against MAGA, against corporate Democrats, against establishment Democrats. And this is hopefully going to sweep the entire country. And people go, oh my God, they're so radical. They're really not. Not wanting to kill kids.
Saying the most popular politician in the country is bad at politics as well, that's something. That's not what I said at all. That's literally not what I said at all. And also, I'm different than you, chatter. I'm not an unthinking fan drone. I have my own analysis, which is why I'm able to predict things better than AOC. You think AOC thought Daria Lisa was going to win by 4? Did she say that on Monday? Do you think? I was responding to a chatter. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it was to me. But like, what I'm trying to say is I'm not criticizing AOC. I'm not saying I even know better than her. What I'm saying is I think that based on my analysis, she would be even more popular if she did these things. I think she's extremely popular, but I think she could go up from there. You know, like where she is right now is not as popular as she could be. I could see her with 70% approval, like Claudia Sheinbaum. That's not impossible. It's really not. But you have to actually deliver change for people. And part of the way you deliver change is by delivering political leadership.
Not wanting to fund a country that intentionally targets children is not radical in the least. It is radical, homicidal, and genocidal to kill kids, and then to call the people who oppose that anti-Semitic assholes. This is the biggest bunch of gaslighting, quackery, fuckery on the planet, and good on Zoran for standing up and believing in something and calling these corporate PACs out for being the monsters that they are. And shame on every Democratic politician that takes money from the same fascists that are funding the dismantling of the United States of America and who willfully smile and fund the intentional targeting of kids.
She's such a fucking queen.
What happened in New York.
All right, I'll be right back.
What is your first reaction?
What do you think about this take? Oh my God, is it edgermentum? Is he saying something dumb as fuck as usual? What you morons don't understand is that the Mamdani politicians or the moderates, I really mean this, you should be happy that Mamdani politicians are being elected. You're not ready for the real radical politics, but it looks like voters are more and more. Oh, he's right. But he's completely right. This was not edgermentum. This guy is completely right. He's 100% correct. When people like me are running, then it's different. This is not like when people like me are running, we're going to be like, hey, a large section of the elite should be in prison. Like that's after Mamdani. That's after Daralisa. That's like Daralisa is actually somebody who's kind of bordering on that, right? She's like bordering on saying, hey, we should be arresting Joe Biden, right? Like that's why we love her, because we recognize that she's, you know, she's right there. Would you say Larkin is a moderate? Is he like us? Again, he's like, I would say Oliver Larkin is like Daralisa. So that was a very good take. Earns a follow from me. Thank you, Chatter.
Thank you. First of all, obviously, I'm thrilled. I did not expect to be on air when the race was called. Look, I love Election Day. I like that voters get to go out and cast their ballots and say, here's who we want to represent us. These are the fights that matter to us. And all I can say is I promise to go out every single day and fight for my constituents and the values that they have, because we need a country that stands up for working people. It doesn't make it so hard to live here. I'll be fighting for a city everyone can afford and where everyone is welcome. And I'm really honored to be on your show tonight.
Depending on how the rest of these races go tonight, everyone's going to be looking for through lines and what this means for the Democratic Party come November. We know at least one candidate who is endorsed by Mayor Mamdani, not endorsed obviously by the minority leader here in Washington, Hakeem Jeffries, has won, which is you. What do you think it says about the Democratic?
Look, I think it says people want fighters. They want people who reject corporate PAC money from private equity, Wall Street, and crypto and APAC. It wants people who center that real felt needs of working families and go out and fight and deliver for them like I've been doing for 30 years, protecting tenants and building affordable housing. And I do think it says Democratic voters want to reset the U.S. relationship with Israel. They don't want a foreign policy that ends humanity.
Do you think that's become a litmus test in your party to a degree?
Well, I don't know that it's a litmus test. There's still a majority of Democratic members of Congress who from AIPAC and a majority of Democrats, in the House at least, have continued to vote for military aid. I think it says Democratic voters want to see that change.
Do you agree with how Mayor Mamdani described AIPAC when he was out on the campaign trail?
Look, voters have a lot of concerns with AIPAC and the way, but it's, that's true of other super PACs as well that spend money in dark ways, that don't even talk clearly about the issues that they're focused on. It was an important part of my campaign. At the same time, I'm a proud Jewish New Yorker. Anti-Semitism is surging. It is important for us to be clear that the Democratic Party is not going to compromise on anyone's human rights, not Palestinians in Gaza, and not Jews in New York City or the United States of America. That's not two separate jobs. That's the same job.
Brad Lander, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for being with us as CNN projected your race. That was not planned, but you know what? News happens as it happens.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Great to be with you. Happy Election Day.
Congressman, obviously, you're the Democrat here at the table, the Democratic official with us. I mean, when you're looking at this, how are you watching this?
I'm glad that Brad Lander won. I had done some support for him. And look, this is fundamentally about Gaza. Anyone who says that Mamdani was just about affordability doesn't understand that election. It was partly about Gaza. Young people saw on their phones for 2 years the genocide that took place. And for many people, it's a test of character. Are you going to deny that genocide, or are you going to say what took place and you're going to stand for human rights? That was the central difference in this race between Dan Goldman and Brad Lander. And Brad Lander won. And in my view, this is going to be a central divide heading into 2026 and 2020.
Yeah, look, I think this is.
I think, and by the way, this is part of why I think AOC made the mistake, right? If AOC had endorsed, say, for example, Claire, she would be getting credit for this win. You know what I mean? Like, or even, you know what? She could have been up there at a victory party giving a speech. Huge missed opportunity for earned media, which would help her presidential run. And instead of Zoran taking all the credit, it would have been Zoran, AOC, Slate wins. She's playing it too safe. And I think it sucks because ultimately, like, I don't like the people on the left that are sniping at her. And it worries me that you're giving them too much oxygen. You need to, like, amp them down by being just a bit more bold. Just a bit more bold.
Is the Tea Party moment for my friends on the left. And many in the establishment wing of my party, they dismissed many of the Tea Party elements. And obviously that spurred the rise of President Trump and him being elected twice. I think that's where this is going on the other side. And I agree with you, Congressman. I think in 2028, it will be a tale of two cities. You'll have your establishment, traditional Democrats, against someone who may be progressive, maybe even a Democratic socialist, making their appeals to younger voters in particular, maybe even middle-aged Democratic voters who find themselves to be completely disgusted by a political system that they believe is no longer working for them. That said, as a conservative, I see this as a real contrast between an element of the Democratic Party that believes the United States should retract on the world stage and be weak and not support our allies. I see a iteration of the Democratic Party that does not believe in capitalism. They do not believe it works. They do believe that there's a significant percent of people in America who have earned too much, and that somehow it is the responsibility of the government to take from them and spread the wealth around to everyone else.
If you profited from the society, you have an obligation to make sure that society is functional. How the profits are distributed is the result of our society's designs. Corporations are a legal fiction of the government. They allow you to make investments and limit your legal liability. So that is a subsidy by the government towards investment, which means because you're going to take advantage of the government subsidy, you don't like government regulations? Run a sole proprietorship then. And if your company does anything fucked up, we could sue you personally. But you guys don't want to do that. You like taking the subsidies, you like taking the markets, you like taking the benefits of government. But then when it comes to, you know, protecting and defending and developing the general well-being of society, now suddenly you think it's stealing.
Of making and improving the lot in life of the majority, those who are struggling. I would clearly view that a different way. It is a message and a contrast that I think conservatives will hopefully draw in November. We'll certainly draw it in 2028. Do you want a prosperous America, or do you want an America with government control that is expansive, with higher taxes, that dictates who can and cannot be successful? I'm willing to bet that most Americans will believe in the Republicans when drawing that contrast.
We know that Israel and the policies that Netanyahu has promoted has been quite an undercurrent of tension for a lot of voters in that particular area. He lost to Landers 66% to 33%. This is somebody who was a DOJ or pursuit of justice darling not more than a year ago. Waiting to hear from him still tonight about his loss. But here's what he told me just last night about the prospect of losing this race. Do you think that your views on Israel or your stance with respect to the definition of genocide will ultimately cost you this election?
I have no idea. And if I lose because of that, then so be it. I'll wake up on Wednesday morning and I will proudly look myself in the mirror and know that I stood with my values and my morals and that I still have my integrity. And that's much more important to me.
So do you think that AIPAC...
supporting Israel's genocide is integrity? I think one of the things about narcissism and like human psychology in general is like this guy was a disgusting Zionist genocidal freak and he was getting paid millions of dollars for that position. And he wants to pretend like that's integrity. It's integrity to go and tell people it's okay for 30,000 children to be killed or maimed. That to him is integrity. God, it's just there's the shame. There's no hell for him to burn in.
Stances on Israel? Is this a new litmus test for Democratic voters going forward?
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but it
shouldn't be.
I
Not only
mean,
that,
well,
these candidates also, in some regard, hate America, and I think that is
which candidate hates America? Come on.
Chevrolet said
hates America.
She said the USA is a disgrace, and I want to wipe my flag.
She said, I don't have a napkin, but there's an American flag behind me, smirk, at like 20 years old. Who gives a fuck? It's so funny that people are now trying to pretend that somebody's posts when they were an adolescent is some sort of reflection of a deep-seated hatred of the country. Grow the fuck up. You're such a baby-ass bitch. Get the fuck out of here.
Baldwin said, hold on, I love this country more than anyone else and
What does
any
that
other.
mean?
I'll finish James Baldwin's quote. I love this country more than anyone else, which is why I reserve the right to criticize it perpetually. People have every right in this country to redress grievances.
But that should trouble
complain.
every single American, because this is the greatest country on earth, and it is great.
Yeah, like, this is the baby-ass shit. Are we great because we say so emotionally like a little loser, or are we great because of what we do? Is LeBron James the GOAT because he walks around calling himself the GOAT, or is it because of the rings? You beat our chest, we build bridges. I'm sorry, you beat your chest, we build bridges. You crow about how great everything is, we till the fucking field. You don't do any actual work. It's all blathering and talk. America has to earn the designation of greatest country in the world. It's not just a fact of the universe. It has to be fought for. It has to be maintained. And it has to be demonstrated with having superior morals. God, these people are scum.
Because we do not have socialism, unless you want to go back to the Soviet Union. If everyone would like, if the Democrat Party wants to go that way, here we go. We have an open
It's going to be a litmus test on the right just as much as it's on the left. I mean, Israel, it's the same with AIPAC, right? Like, their actions have necessitated a conversation about their relationship with the Democratic Party. And I think a lot of Democrats are looking at that relationship with weary eyes, because we've seen, especially over the last few years, that Israel has carried out atrocities with our blessing, with our tax dollars, and just with Iran have pushed President Trump, well, you know,
God, we're winning so hard, it's not even funny. You know, on October 7th, when I looked at the events that were transpiring, and I said that occupied people had the untrammeled full legal right to resist. On October 9th of 2023, I said Israel is planning to commit a genocide. There were very, very few other people out there that were saying the same thing. And as the corpses got piled up and the clear genocidal intent of Israel was demonstrated, our Democratic president called our protests disgraceful from the White House lectern. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been poured into Israel. He lied about atrocities, made up atrocities, mass rapes, beheaded babies. And we were called anti-Semitic. We were deplatformed. I lost the ability to have any ads on my stream, therefore significantly curtailing my ability to make my show. Basically, I have some sort of scarlet letter because I was right about a genocide. On CNN, they can now call it atrocities. They can call it genocide, and they're still getting their fucking ads. But because I was there and able to recognize it earlier, my ability to have a livelihood has been permanently damaged. I don't say this to victimize myself because I'm doing very well and my life is amazing. I'm just pointing out the change, the sea change that has happened, and how much we have changed the country and how much more we will change the country. I don't know if you saw this, but I had to unfollow Legion Miller after this. What's this? Why I left the U.S. I completely disagree with this, and I think it, you know, I'm not gonna say anything more. If I'm in the last trench with the last bullet, certainly not putting it into my own head, it's going into the back of the fascist. I'm never gonna leave. I'm never gonna let them have this country. To flee while we're finally taking the country back, to flee while we're surging, to flee while the American people are uniting behind our movement. I completely disagree with that. You're free to live your own life. You know, live your own life, do what makes you happy. You know, maybe, you know, if you have a loved one in you know, Ireland, whatever the fuck. But like, I'm just saying, that's how I feel.
Choice ultimately into another, you know, ridiculous war in the Middle East that's cost American lives, that's cost billions of dollars, and that's in large part due to the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu. And I think that that necessitates a reevaluation of our relationship with Israel and our relationship with.
Can I just say, I think that Iran has invited a lot of the problems. It is literally a tyrannical, fanatic regime.
Sure.
They've invited a lot of their own problems. But look, let's zoom in. We're talking about New York a lot tonight. New York has plenty of problems. The fact that Israel is a litmus test when New York has some of the least competitive tax structure, businesses, a lot of.
Guys, you need to be more competitive like Oklahoma. Don't you want to make New York like Oklahoma? The richest, most productive city in America.
Businesses are thinking of leaving. Cost of living is through the roof. Working people are really struggling. And Israel has become a litmus test in this election. Is ridiculous. Socialist candidates are using that as a.
God, I love seeing these fucking Zios. They're not scared enough, right? Like, I think one of the things that's funny is they pretend like they think we're coming for them, but they don't realize we actually are coming for you. You should be scared. Zionism is going to go away. Like you're lying us and smearing us because you think that we're not coming for you, but we actually are. If you knew what we intended to do, you wouldn't be yelling from the top of the roofs that you're a Zionist, right? You would be deleting shit. You'd be shredding documents. Okay, like that is, I don't think they understand that Zionism in this country is going to go the way of the dodo. It's going to be about as popular as being a member of the Klan. We're going to make you extinct.
Distraction because they know that their ideas simply don't work.
Well, they don't believe that, though. They will be steadfast, and they.
Mike, I'm in Fort Hood, and I admittedly fuck with a lot of Army wives, and they seem not to give a shit about the wins last night as they complain about their current circumstances, not knowing these victories impact them and their families. Really, you get mad that I'm talking politics when it's the simplest shit ever. Well, yeah, no shit. I've been a Jody too. I understand. Being a Jody is fucking hilarious. There's nothing better than driving onto base and then you go to a gate guard and they're like, oh, and then you'd be like, I'm a guest. And it's for it's for a soldier who's on deployment to visit their wife. Don't worry, I brought a bag of Burger King. I came to give her a Whopper. All right, let's keep going.
We'll talk about their viewpoints and stance, and I'll let them speak for themselves. I'm not going to speak for any candidate. I'm not running. But they have said more than once that they believe that their stance is about foreign policy proposals and the priorities.
For the 30 people in my chat that know what I'm talking about, they're all laughing. The 30 people in the chat who know what I'm talking about are laughing.
Of the American government and military, and to whom they owe allegiance or allyship. And so they don't look at it as the idea of either anti-America. They look at it as they have expressed responsibility of expressing their viewpoints through American lenses. So is it for them so dismissed?
Look, I think ultimately it's up to the voters. If that's a voter's top issue, that's a voter's top issue. Our country is great because we have that choice. I just think that when you're looking at the problems that not only the country faces, the economy, immigration, crime, all of these different issues, but then you look at New York and it's all times 10, it's pretty interesting that people who carry an ideology that we know doesn't work anywhere else, it has caused suffering and death for many people, are spending.
So I grokked it, chat, or I Googled it. I said, how long has the Socialist Party been in charge of Vienna? The Socialist Party has been continuously in charge of Vienna since the end of World War II in 1945. Before this post-war streak, the party also held uninterrupted control over the city between 1919 and 1934 in an era famously known as Red Vienna. What is the most livable city in the world? Oh no, Copenhagen took it over, but Vienna, Austria. Son of a bitch, Copenhagen finally got, because of, quote, stability, whatever the fuck that means. So I'm not saying the SPO in Vienna is the most left-wing group in the history of the planet, but the idea of like, oh my God, this socialism can't win, it's always failed. And it's like, Vienna has been socialist for 100 fucking years, and it's the most livable city in the world. Perhaps sewer socialism of Zoran Mamdani can raise our standard of living. Have you considered that? Zoran, Hasan Piker refuses to soften the truth. I don't care about Zionist feelings. So when Zoran talks about socialism, it is both taking advantage of the low, like this is something that I don't think I've explained before, but I will. When we talk about socialism in America, we are drawing in a lot of traditions because America doesn't have a lot of policies that are really effective and low-hanging fruit. So like, you might say they're SOCDEM, or you might say they're, you know, sewer socialist or whatever. But these policies that we don't have are super low-hanging fruit that would move our country to the left and significantly increase people's trust in collective government and public provision of services and away from the markets and capitalism. So what our strategy is to come in and pluck a lot of that low-hanging fruit. We could do Medicare for all. We could do free college. We could get rid of medical debt. We could get rid of student debt. We could build up high-speed rail. We could build a green energy grid. We could do renewable energy. We could build high-quality public transit that's fast and free. We could build social and public housing that's owned by either nonprofits or the community at large. We could do a jobs guarantee. We can clean up our environment. We could do public provision of funding for the arts and sciences. We could fund public research. We could bring the troops home, right? All those policies individually are not completely changing our society to a socialist society, but they are all firmly left policies that we could implement, and they'll raise our quality of living. They will open up the horizon for more experimentation. They will lessen the gap between the rich and the poor. They'll put more power in the hands of the working class. And as we develop new technologies and new productivity, we can have them be publicly owned. As we develop possible AI, as we develop robotics, as we develop more productivity and renewable energy and fusion power, God knows what is coming. We could slowly, or maybe all at once, revolutionary style, get rid of the capitalist class. But the policies that we are implementing, the policies that we're producing in the here and now can make the world a better place, more peaceful, more prosperous, more in balance with ecology. We have the engineering. We know how to do it. It's right there. We just have to want to do it. A lot of the stuff we're doing is not that hard. We know how to do, like, this is the most frustrating black pill in politics. It's not that we don't know what to do, is that we haven't demonstrated the political will to do it. You understand? We know how to build housing. We know how to build health hospitals. We know how to build high-speed rail. We know how to build renewable energy. We know how to educate people. None of this is new. None of this requires a paradigm shift or the development of new knowledge or technology. We know how to do it. It's just a matter of taking resources from the rich and giving it back to us. Instead of having fucking Elon Musk at $1 trillion, we take that $1 trillion and we cancel student loan debt for every American. And so when people say, oh, what do you mean it's never worked? What the fuck are you talking about, man? Works well all over the world. You just don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
So much time on that hot button.
I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I mean, look, where it is dangerous, unacceptable, is the conflation of criticism of the actions of the Netanyahu government with anti-Semitism or criticism of the Jewish people. And I think there are absolutely candidates running, including DSA candidates, who have a vehement disagreement with the way the United States has funded Israel's defense. They can and should make those arguments. Where it gets really, really scary, and where I think it has started to bleed in territory, is when it becomes a criticism of the Jewish people or suggestion that somehow Jewish money is, pulling strings in our government. I mean, these are age-old anti-Semitic tropes, and you hear it from candidates on the far left. You hear it from candidates on the right too. The right is having this debate as well, and that is where it gets dangerous. And I think the idea that it's a litmus.
What happens is when we criticize Israeli agents, they say, well, I'm a Jewish person, so therefore you're criticizing Jews. No, I'm criticizing you for your actions. You being Jewish doesn't matter. If you were a pedophile, I'm not hating the Jewish people by calling you a pedophile. I'm saying you're a pedophile. It's actually anti-Semitic of you to take your personal actions and try to ascribe them to every Jewish person. That's anti-Semitic of you. You want to say Israel is, you want to support Israel's genocide? That's on your name. That's not on Jewishness's name. God, I'm fired up today, Chad. I'm fucking fired the fuck up. Who's fired up? All right, let's watch the breaking points, people, because I want to do a video reacting to them because they're great.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breaking Points. We have an extraordinary show for you today because there was a political earthquake in New York City last night as Zoran Mamdani candidates swept the field in their races for federal office. 2 Democratic incumbents have been tossed out. Truly, truly an extraordinary political night. Ryan Grimm was there for the whole thing. He got lots of exclusive interviews. He is going to join us both for that analysis and also overall for as my co-host this morning. So we will dig into all of those races and what it will mean going forward for the Democratic Party and also for the country. Also keeping our eye on Iran and the way Congress could thwart any potential deal coming together. Dr. Trita Parsi is going to join me to give his analysis there. We've got a stunning report from the Washington Post about the way that Tulsi Gabbard has been taking orders, marching orders, and getting talking points from her guru throughout her political career and even, potentially into her time here as DNI. The reporter on that story is going to join me to explain the wild story of how he got access to this treasure trove of materials with regard to Tulsi Gabbard. There's a big fight going down between Elon Musk, the richest man on the planet, and Ro Khanna, actually his representative in Silicon Valley. Elon is now threatening to sue Ro. Ro is responding. This is all over what Elon did to USAID and also Ro's continuing efforts to push taxes on the rich. And finally, we did not want to lose sight of what is happening in Sudan, where another mass atrocity is being threatened. So we'll break down what we know and why nations around the world are sounding the alarm about a potential human catastrophe that is on the verge of happening there in that war-torn country. So before we jump in, guys, thank you so much for your support. If you want to become a premium member, get access to all the things, breakingpoints.com. I think the transition at this point has gone pretty smoothly back over to Supercast. We're certainly happy with the service we're getting there and hope that you are too. All right, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump into these extraordinary election results. So Dsa Mamdani backed a number of DSA candidates, both for federal office, but also for state legislative offices, and he swept across the board. He also endorsed Brad Lander, who's not technically a DSA candidate, against Dem incumbent Dan Goldman. As I said before, truly a political earthquake. Let's take a listen to a little bit of Zoran celebrating these extraordinary victories at Claire Valdez, who was able to win an open seat there at her victory party. Let's take a look.
My friends, I know many of you have been canvassing for months. And at those canvasses, at those fundraisers, at those events, when we introduce our candidates, we use a language of hope. We say the next assembly member, the next state senator, the next congressperson. Tonight, we use a language of fact.
The liberal and right-wing synonymous meltdown on the timeline has been amazing. Okay, okay, let's watch this. Here's what we'll do. We'll watch their speeches because we've been waiting for that, and then we'll do Hog Watch. I want you guys to bring me all of, like 20 minutes or so, bring me all of your favorite liberal meltdowns, all your favorite conservative meltdowns. I would like to see, especially if you have any like Destiny meltdowns, Hutch meltdowns, Pisco meltdowns, like any of these, like, the progressive victory meltdowns, the Vosh meltdown, like anytime you get those kind of people, all the kind of like scummy, weird weirdos, Eve Fartlow, Asman Gold, I want all of the meltdowns. Do I prefer video or tweets? Whatever is funny. David Frum, etc. Mike, I've been talking to these idiots all morning in your tweet replies. Please continue to do so. It's awesome.
Please join me in welcoming up to the stage Assemblywoman Diana Moreno. Assemblymember David Orkin. Assemblywoman Samantha Catan. State Senator Abir Kawas.
absolutely massive night for him, where he answered his critics, going up against a bunch of Democratic power brokers. We'll get into more of that with Ryan in just a second. Also, just as a reminder, Zoran launched his slate of candidates at the federal level with this incredible ad during the Knicks playoff run. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
New York, we know anything's possible with a great team.
I'm Brad Lander, and I'll block billionaires from buying our elections.
You know what I would like from my editors? If you could get like a clip compilation of all the times I predicted things perfectly and put them all next to each other. Here's Mike predicting the election. Here's Mike, you know, blah, blah. Just put all of them back to back to back. A Mike was right compilation. That would be awesome.
I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and I'll defend New York by abolishing ICE.
I'm Claire Valdez, and I'll stand up against bad landlords and greedy corporations.
Get out and vote. This is the team. This is our year.
I'm Brad Lander.
I'm Claire Valdez.
I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and
we approve this message.
I mean, I don't know that their opponents really ever stood a chance. Just take a look at that ad. Let's put the actual results up on the screen here before we bring Ryan in.
I'm pretty sure I said that Zara would get 56, but I think I tweeted that. You could also use tweets as well.
Let me just break these down a little bit for you guys. So hold on this. This is New York's 7th congressional district, commonly known as the Commie Corridor. So Nidhi Velasquez, who was herself a very powerful member of Congress, powerful inside of New York, had her own power base there, progressive congresswoman. She retired and she endorsed Antonio Reynoso, who had a slew of sort of, you know, established power player endorsements, a bunch of unions behind him, Nidhi Velasquez herself.
I really don't like Brad Lander, bro. Don't show me Brad Lander clips. Don't show me Brad Lander clips. I'm not planning on watching his speech. I'm not a fan. We're just going to use him as a shield. You know, like, fuck Brad Lander.
Relatively progressive candidate, but not as clear-throated a opponent of genocide and in favor of moving away from the current status with regard to Israel's status quo. Claire Valdez, who had the endorsement of DSA, had the endorsement of Zoran Mamdani, also Hasan Piker. We'll talk a little bit more about Hasan and the way he deserves some credit here as a kingmaker in these races as well. In any case, with their backing, she was able to defeat Antonio Reynoso, who did not come out of nowhere. He was the Brooklyn borough president. And not only did she win, she wins here overwhelmingly. This is a 21-point victory, close to 21 points victory, with 92% of the votes in. Was not even close. Let's go to the next one. We can break this one down as well. This is the 12th district. Now, in this one, you didn't have a Zoran candidate. The differences between these, the top candidates in this race were less along the lines of Israel and Palestine and genocide. Michael Lasher was the choice of retiring Democrat Jerry Nadler. This was another open seat. Alex Boras has really positioned himself as an AI critic. You can see that did pretty well for him, but not enough for him to be able to overtake Michael Lasher. There were tens of millions of dollars spent from AI PACs in this race. We'll get Ryan to break those dynamics down for us when he joins. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. 13th district here. This one was the real shocker. So Adriano Espaillat, Democratic incumbent. I believe he's been in office for 5 terms. So long term, he's been there for a decade. I actually was living in this district when he got elected. It was quite a while ago. He is the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. He is, again, a real power broker. This is not a backbencher. This is someone very influential within the Democratic caucus. Of course, had all of the establishment backing. Dsa Avila Chevalier, who we just had on the show, along with Claire Valdez the other day, she was an organizer at the Columbia University student encampment. She was motivated in part by her disgust over the treatment and arrest of Mahmoud Khalil and Congressman Espaillat's failure to stand up for him and to fight for him in his support of the brutal tactics against those protesters, against those pro-Palestine protesters. She was subject to incredible racist attacks and smears in the final days and weeks of this campaign. And yet here she is, having never sought elected office before, with all of the establishment players backing Espaillat. She was able to knock him off. Why? Because of the mood of the Democratic base and because of the endorsement of Zoran Mamdani and also potentially some very significant phone banking from the Hasan Piker community, which I do think plays a role in here, especially given the fact that this race was relatively close. This one is truly the most shocking and an absolute political earthquake. And then last but not least, let's take a look at this race between Brad Lander and Dan Goldman. Goldman being a Democratic incumbent here. This is a lower Manhattan district primarily. Brad Lander just not even close here. 30-point victory. You just don't see this typically with incumbent candidates. Sometimes they lose. That in and of itself is extraordinary, but losing by 30 points, 30 plus points is truly wild. You guys will remember Brad Lander. We've also had on the show a few different times. He was a mayoral candidate, but when he realized that, the path was not open for him, he made the decision to endorse Zoran Mamdani. They did sort of like a co-endorsement leading into the primary. He was one of his most important validators, especially, sort of assuaging concerns in the Jewish community, Lander himself being.
Well, no, and this is exactly right. This is why Zoran Mamdani endorsed Brad Lander. This is why DSA went along with Brad Lander. That's why. It's because even though they know he's not really on their side, he'll be on their side in enough stuff, and he provides a human shield just to block the idea that Zoran is some sort of like anti-Semite, right? Like that's the reality, is that he validates Zoran as a good guy, and that stops the unhinged Zionist attacks from landing as well. And so he was rewarded with support for his primary against Goldman. I still think, however, he's way too friendly to Israel, and that is a concern. And he's always constantly validating the idea that anti-Semitism is a big problem on the left when it clearly is not. So it's an issue. I don't, he left. And if you want to understand why I feel the way I feel, Brad Lander left DSA on October 7th. Like he was a progressive for Hillary in 2016. And he was working with Peter Thiel's secret society member, Ezra Klein, right before the primary. I think that we should never be vulnerable to betrayal by Brad Lander as much as we could avoid it. That being said, it's a win for us. It is what it is. Take the credit for the victory. But I'm excited about Daria Lisa. I'm excited about Claire. Those are the true blue pro-Palestine cadre candidates that are super high quality. And of course, Claire was here.
Jewish and was an important part of that coalition that brought Zoran Mamdani to victory. Zoran backed him in this race, and it ends up not even being close. Last thing before we bring Ryan in, if we could put A7 up on the screen just to show that the Dem Tea Party vibes were not exclusively in New York last night. This is analysis from Daniel, who does a great job following all of these elections. He says across New York and Maryland, I'm counting 12 Democratic incumbents who lost, or in one case are trailing to a challenger to their left, 2 Congress members, those what we just talked about, both in New York, 4 state senators, 2 in New York, 2 in Maryland, 6 state House members, 5 in New York, and 1 in Maryland. So 12 Democratic incumbents falling to left-wing rivals, some extraordinary upsets in New York City, and a lot to dig in.
I mean, like, all you have to do is take a look at this DSA. This is a national DSA electoral thing for last night. Of our DSA candidates that won last night, Maryland said it last night, but the establishment is strong here. We're going to build up Maryland. Part of that is my fault. Part of that's Hasan's fault. Like what we need is an organized system. And I'm considering doing it through DSA, where I want to be a coordinator between DSA and the online left. And I want to provide leadership or like advice, that's what I want to do. I think that would be very valuable, and it's something we need. Mike, is there we need, I hate to make this analogy, but we need a DSA Karl Rove. That's what we need. We need a DSA Karl Rove. I don't think there's anybody else in the entire country better than me for that role, which is basically the strategist guy who is behind the scenes, lining shit up, coming up with strategy, coming up with ruthless Machiavellian plans. We need a DSA Yes, hey, Karl Rove. Morning Joe blaming Bibi for last night. All right, hold on. Let me finish this and then we'll move on.
Now with Ryan Grimm, who's there on the ground.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can.
The funny thing about TikTok is the libs on TikTok smug max. I need to make a video about smug. I'm gonna make a TikTok probably like today or this week about smug maxing. And it's like the way people make videos on TikTok is like they try to act the most smug they can. No matter what position they hold on the political spectrum, they're smug maxing. And oftentimes they just say shit that's completely wrong. I think there's something about holding these little fucking microphones. These little fucking microphones, like smug maxing. Fucking crazy. Denims has 100 in smug maxing. You know what? You're kind of completely right about that. You're completely right about that. So let all of us be smug by showing you what you all came to see.
Good evening, Brooklyn.
Absolute victory.
And Queens. When we fight, yeah, baby. And tonight, my friends, we have won. My name is Claire Valdez, and I am proud to say that I will be your next Congress member. I just spoke with Borough President Reynoso, who graciously ceded this race, and I want to thank him. I want to thank him for running a campaign rooted in his love for and devotion strict, and to all those who call it home, and I look forward to in the near future is done. And I want to thank Councilman Velasquez, whose service to the commitment to Puerto Rico stretches decades. So few Americans have had the privilege that we have had for so long to vote for a member of Congress who they sincerely are proud of to have representing them and who serves them selflessly. And I want to thank our mayor. Zoran has given hope to so many people across that politics can be about things that really matter in our lives. And you have you believed in me every step of this way. I'm so proud to be in this movement with our mayor of New York. Tonight, we haven't just won an election. Declared that this movement is that it is growing and that it will not stop until working people are no longer asked to build the table, no longer just offered at the table, but will run the table. And make no mistake, this victory is not mine, it is ours. It belongs to the UAW, it belongs to... and it belongs to New York City DSA. It belongs to the entire coalition that believed in this campaign and built. And when I look out into this crowd, I see of those who willed hard work. I'm talking about UAW members. Stood on picket lines when the sun beat down and the cold made your toes go numb, and still you marched. I'm talking about DSA members who showed up to meetings late on Friday nights, who imagined a better future even when there were only 10 people in the room. Still, we organized. And I'm talking about neighbors who spoke to neighbors on street corners, children who asked parents to vote for futures, New Yorkers from Greenpoint and Sunnyside and Ridgewood and Bushwick and Woodhaven who came together to fight for dignity and power. Together we won. So often in this campaign there was a rallying cry, one that has echoed from canvas launches and moving vehicles, and that you chanted just moments ago. It was coined by Tony Rosario of the Teamsters. Yes. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I was talking about. I have to admit, at first I did not like it. You shouted it all the time, just now again. And I didn't like it because none of this was ever about me. This race has always been about the New Yorkers who are there before the sun rises and after it sets. For whom there means on the work site, in our schools, driving our buses and our trains, who are there working jobs without fair pay, without fair wages, without a voice in the halls of power. I know that because I was one of them. And when I was looking through drive-through windows or bagging groceries, I couldn't have running.
Chatter, I posted a tweet.
Here, if I have been there, it was only because each and every one of you showed me that it was possible. Because I was asked to be there. That's what organizing is. It's being asked to do something scary, unfamiliar, something that everything inside you says is not for, can't be. The plunge, you find your power in solidarity. Let's talk about what that ask has now won. I will fight ISIS cruelty and stand steadfast alongside our immigrant neighbors. They've been demonized, targeted, attacked, and in me they will have a champion. I will stand steadfast alongside our trans siblings who are the beating heart in this community. I will continue to call for Palestinian liberation. We will stand up to the genocide. We will refuse to abide by apartheid, and we will use our money to improve lives here instead of destroy them abroad. And I will do everything in my power every day in Congress to give the labor movement tools it needs to be a fighting force for the entire working class. As my president, UAW President Shawn Fain, put it. It is time to decide what world we want to live in, and it is time to decide what we do. If the past 7 months have proven anything, it's that the people in this room and thousands more across the state are willing everything it to get there. And so to my many friends, thank you. To my parents who have loved and supported her life, thank you. And to Nathan, who has done more to build this movement that could ever be repaid, thank you. I couldn't have done this without you. So, the work continues, my friends. Solidarity forever. Abolish ICE. Free Palestine. Organize your union. And join DSA. Thank you so much.
That was easy. That was easy. Just kidding, chat. It was fucking hard, but don't let them see you sweat. We're gonna do it everywhere, motherfucker. We're just getting started. A lot of people say to us, oh, it could only win in deep blue seats. Going off of 2024 House race, which was a bad year, by the way. I would have preferred 2020 House race if anybody has that data. There were 168 districts that were D plus 10 or better in 2024. That means that we can win in 168 districts without persuading a goddamn person. And in a good year, in a wave year, the majority of seats, or close to it, are going to be in our wheelhouse, especially after we gerrymander the fuck out of the country when we win power after 2028. When we pack the motherfucking Supreme Court and we overturn their disastrous decisions on Citizens United or on the Voting Rights Act. When we draw proportional districts throughout the Deep South and we make it federal law. When we reenact Roe versus Wade, which will get a better decision. Reproductive health care will be a human right paid for by Medicare for All. We're just getting started. And you, if you joined DSA, if you're part of this community, you are there on the ground fucking floor, chat. You are there at the ground floor. If you enjoy this kind of commentary, if you like this space, if you enjoyed the fact that we have raised $100,000 for DSA endorsed candidates so far this year, please consider supporting this stream by subscribing at tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 sub. I can only do it with your guys' support. I can only do it if you guys are behind me, because they don't let me run ads. I don't have sponsors, because when the genocide started, I took a stand. Green bass guy, or base guy. I got it right. Green base guy. Thank you for the 10 tier 1s. I keep calling you Green bass guy. Green base guy. Or Muzzy. Thank you for supporting the stream. We can only exist. We can only do what we do if you guys are behind me. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. Gifting subs to the community is amazing. Mike, I think we need to expand our scope going into this last half of the primaries, like in Michigan and Wisconsin, where there are a few progressives, pro-Palestine challengers who aren't getting the attentions they need. Oh, we're going to. If you can't understand how our livestock practices are unsustainable and inherently polluting and destroying the planet and our food sustainability, you cannot call yourself a socialist. Okay, bro. I would become less addicted to that kind of rhetoric. That rhetorical style is woke one. It's a rhetorical style of excommunicado. It's a rhetorical style of inquisitorial, you know, you're acting like you won already. Maybe on the vegan Discord you won, but for the rest of us, you haven't yet won yet. So maybe readjust your argument style to one of persuasion, because it's not working. You're just kind of making everyone scoff. I know your heart's in the right place, but you need to try a different one. Try a different strat. Ladies and gentlemen, the wins didn't stop there. The wins did not stop there. We have another victory, and her name is Dara Lisa. Before we start the speech, Tom Like a Tom gave 50 gifted subs. Thank you so much, brother. Click Clack, thank you for the 5. Amy the Gorilla, thank you for the 10. M Gauntlet, thank you for the 10. Ella Fibby, thank you for the 5. You guys fucking rock. MP Sharky, thanks for the 10 tier 1s.
So surreal being here with you all tonight.
Mike, my local communist group banned our obnoxious and pretentious vegan comrade that derailed every meeting. LOL. Yeah, it's called the tyranny of the annoying. We are here to do work. The only person who gets the soapbox is me. Okay? If you want to be in dialogue with me on my terms, you're welcome. If you want to organize and do the work, you're welcome. You're not going to come to my meeting and derail it with your bullshit. I don't care what you think about that. That's the rules. You don't like it? Start your own community. Build it up from scratch. Get called an anti-Semite by the world's largest newspapers. Get your personal life examined by every Nazi. Have every embarrassment, every failure of your life transmitted to the internet by some of the biggest content creators on the planet. Then you get to come in and dictate what gets talked about. Let's keep going.
This is such a beautiful room. Wow. I look around this room and I see the faces of so many people who showed up for this campaign, who showed up for me, and who showed up for our community when it was not easy. People who never stopped believing in our vision for New York, for Uptown and the Bronx. And I know that each of us are seeing what I'm seeing right now. A new dawn for this district. In my district, we know a little bit about what it feels like to be left behind. Because for too long, in Washington Heights, in Harlem, in Kingsbridge, people have forgotten about us, told us we couldn't make it. Every single one of us has a story about being let down by our government, about our representatives, soon to be our former representatives, who wouldn't pick up the phone, doing nothing about the affordability crisis and looking the other way while the real estate corporations that funded his campaign raised our rents and priced us out of the community that we love. but that ends today. Because we have been told that cynicism was the best that we could get. That to dream of a better life for ourselves and for our neighbors, for systems that were rooted in our community, in joy and in life, instead of despair and destruction, was naive. That a politics of life and of hope was out of reach for us here. As if the cutoff for ambition for a better life ended at 96th Street. But today we make it clear. The politics of the past ends today. What we have built over the last 8 months and what we have delivered here today is a clear mandate that the era of taking a check and cashing a check and calling it representation is over. No longer will Uptown and the Bronx be neglected, forgotten, or overlooked. No longer will we accept a politics that throws scraps at us and acts as if we should be grateful for them. No longer will we accept anything less than respect and a seat at the table that our labor built.
Ladies and gentlemen, where Hype Train is down to 25 seconds. If you want to throw a couple more coins at your streamer, I'd appreciate it. We're just about to breach the 6,000 number again. I appreciate all of you. You guys are the best. Money, 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 money.
Send money.
Yeah,
send money. Yeah, send money.
Thank you, Bokumas.
Gift.
Oh, wait!
Gift.
Whoa!
Gift.
We've got the Shira cheering in the background chat. They're pretty good. Level 13's not bad. Not bad.
You do better.
Damn, Hammond Fist with a 20 bomb. Now we're talking. Thank you, Mike, for all you do. Listen, everything that I do is really what you guys do. Thanks, Shira, for the hype. Unironically, you guys make our movement stronger. The fact that we're together and unified and we're pulling in the same direction and we're not just talking about shit, like that is the change. That's what separates us from previous versions of these kind of like online communities, that we're actually plugging in and getting together in the real world and making a difference. I've met members of this community in real life at protests, at rallies, at ICE defense trainings. You guys you're not just, looking at politics as entertainment. You're actually out there doing shit. You're carrying the fucking flame. Thank you, Big J Dog, Big Gig 17, Baguetta, Young Spinach, Snowflake Ninja, Nana Chill, Lusty Justy, Hammond Fist, Hanaru, and Just Ignore Meme. Thank you for the 20. You guys are the best. And I appreciate all of you.
Over the past 8 months, all of you in this room know how much the Democratic machine has tried to count us out. How at every turn, they've underestimated us. Those of you in this room know just how scared we made APAC, crypto, and all of the corporate PACs funding my opponent's campaign. And over the last few weeks, we've seen the lengths they will go to protect their power. Because the corporate landlords and lobbies who powered our opponent's campaign did so because they know he didn't represent us in this debate. He didn't fight for us. He represented them, and he fought for them. And when they saw how our movement was gaining momentum, they realized that they were in trouble. They knew that they couldn't out-organize us, so they had to outspend us, pumping more than $7 million into our community and flooding our TVs and airwaves and phones. Attack ad. That's a lot of money. And online, that is a lot of money that could have gone into our community. And online and in WhatsApp chats, we saw just how low they were willing to go, just because they knew that they couldn't beat us if they fought fair. So they attacked me. Why? Because I am a proud Afro-Latina Dominican. Because I believe in the freedom and dignity of all people, including our Haitian neighbors.
By the way, chat, they didn't do this because they did this because they were losing and they knew it, right? They did this because they were losing and they knew it. So they had to pull out all the stops. And when the Democratic establishment, so-called progressives, are up against the wall, they rely on racial hatred.
My opponent and his supporters spread vicious lies about me and my family everywhere they could. I have been called racial slurs, had my personhood attacked, had my DMs flooded with monkey and rat emojis. I have received death threats after death threat after death threat, and I have been asked to share my birth certificate and those of my parents. And I say that all to say that this type of hate cannot be allowed to stand. That it has no place in our politics ever. And that tonight our community showed that it will not stand for it. And in the words of Shirley Chisholm, even if the establishment machine has done everything in its power to keep our community from having a seat at the table, well, I have some bad news for them. We brought folding chairs.
I was gonna say we're gonna pull up, but we got folding chairs. Works too.
Because like I've said many times, this campaign was never about me. It is about all of us. It is about every young person who has ever been counted out, discredited, made to feel less than. To every little black and brown girl, Mujeres Dominicanas, my Muslim sisters, and every working class person here. Our time has come. And I am so honored to have built a movement with all of you and to have the support of not only all of you in this room, but all of our community. A community that deserves full investment and full funding in our childcare, in our schools, in our healthcare systems, in our babies, not bombs. And we have to use every tool in the toolbox to make sure that we abolish ICE and keep our immigrant neighbors safe. And we must secure housing for all. Dignified, truly affordable housing for all. Because no New Yorker deserves to live in an apartment that has no heat or hot water. And that's why I've been fighting alongside so many of you all these years as an organizer right here with all of you. And I'm so excited to get to work and to bring all of you with me to Washington. To keep fighting the fights that we have been fighting at the federal level. And I know, and I know that it has not been easy, and I know that it won't be easy, because fascism is on the rise, Trump is in office, and the odds, as always, are stacked against us. But we are used to having the odds stacked against us, aren't we? Because when we launched this campaign in November, with a working class candidate who had never run for office, we were told again and again that the odds were stacked
Thank you for the support.
Us. And yet, look at us here tonight. Because over a year ago, well over a year, the odds were stacked against another young Muslim socialist when he was still polling at 1% to become mayor of New York City. honestly, I'm not concerned about the odds. In fact, I don't give a damn about the odds. I relish the challenge, and that is because I have faith. I have faith in the future that I know we are stepping into today. And I have faith in every single one of us, and all that we have and can accomplish together. Because tonight marks the end of campaigns as we know, of this campaign as we know it. But in reality, it is the beginning. Because when the sun rises over Harlem and El Barrio tomorrow morning, it will bring a new day for Uptown and the Bronx. And I am so proud to have climbed this mountain, every single one of you, because truly, where we are standing here in this moment, the view is so beautiful. I see our future. I see a New York that we can all afford. I see a New York that truly invests in its babies, not bombs. And it is such a beautiful future. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Look at this fucking loser. We don't need to see his fucking blathering. Fucking loser. Socialist earthquake leaves Democrats reeling. House Democrats were left stunned on Tuesday night after two of their colleagues, including the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, lost primaries to left-wing challengers. Why it matters. New York primary results are poised to double the block of Democratic Socialists of America in Congress, something that is not sitting well with some moderates. People who do not support the DSA wring their hands at cocktail parties while the DSA is organizing, says Rep. Tom Suozzi, the co-chair of the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus, told Axios. Primary him! It was a tough night. That's Rep. Greg Meets, a close ally of leadership and the chair of the Queens County Democratic Party. Another centrist House Democrat, speaking on the condition of anonymity and offer candid analysis, called the results an earthquake and a huge defeat for Democratic leadership. And anonymity, I can't speak. Rep. Dan Goldman lost his reelection in a landslide to progressive former New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, who led by more than 30 percentage points as of late Tuesday night. Adriano Espaillat, the Hispanic Caucus chair, lost his primary more narrowly to Democratic Socialist Dara Lisa in the race to succeed retiring Rep. Nadia Valaquez, I can never say her name. Democratic Socialist State Assembly member Claire Valdez won a comfortable double-digit victory over Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso. Jeffries hinted at a preference for Reynoso on Tuesday afternoon, telling reporters the Brooklyn Borough President was backed by a coalition of very progressive Democrats and many of the unions that we've worked closely with. Got fucking destroyed. He also noted pointedly that it is, quote, the most gentrified district in the nation by far. A nod to moderate complaints that DSAers are propped up by young, white, well-educated transplants. The progressive energy is clearly very high, said Jayapal. She added, clearly Mary Mamdani's endorsement and turnout machine really does matter, as do candidates who are willing to stand up to AIPAC. The progressives beat the establishment of the heart of NYC. The energy of our party is clearly with the left. Suozzi said it's time for Democrats' moderate wing to wake up to the threat posed to them by the Democratic Socialists. Economic insecurity, climate change, and immigrant justice are all real problems, and alternative solutions must be offered. It's great time for a great deal of hard work to out-organize the extremists on the right and the left. Now, here's what I want you to understand something, chat. When we were not at the table, they were surrendering on all of this to Trump. Tax cuts for the wealthy, Donald Trump's immigration bill, opening up federal land to exploitation of oil. Joe Biden built an oil export terminal that would do as much climate damage as 60 coal plants. Environmentalists protest as Biden administration approves huge oil export terminal off the Texas coast. And what did that export terminal do? Raise your gas prices because Europeans and Chinese consumers are now bidding against you for our own oil. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 60 coal plants. equivalent to 90 coal-fired power plants. Disastrous planet-warming greenhouse gas. That's why you've got to go, because you guys are fucking toast. Jeffrey speaks about NYC primary. Listen, the mayor and I strongly disagree about some of his endorsements. He's got work to do in terms of conversations that he's going to have with members of Congress going forward. I got to tell you something, chat. We should have run Che Osei. We made a fucking mistake. We should have run Che Osei. That was a mistake. Okay, can run next time. Let's have a little bit of fun about the maulding happening over at Sex Pestity subreddit. Fuck Mamdani and his shameless campaigning for these tacky fucks. Why do we make fun of Hasan for balding when he has amazing hair? Watching every DSA candidate destroy base lives in my state in the moment. Send prayers. Look at NYC DSAs. Look at their Instagram. DAC wins. Adam Bojack wins. Christian Celeste Tate wins. Ian Huntley wins. Samantha Catan wins. Wins. Who got the most likes? I know who it's going to be. Oh, really? It was Claire? That would be my like. That's where my like will go. I mean, I like them all, but I'm just saying. I guess she was the first post. It's not okay!
Okay, what? It will be okay. I said this.
It's not okay!
I really believe this, that we got to give these people a chance, and they may turn out to be great. Who knows? Who knows? You don't know. AOC turned out great. Here we are 8 years later, and she's a rock star. And who's to say that these people can't be rock stars too? And
I legitimately, like, Hutch, I know you're going to see this. You are a subhuman. Like, you're not even a human being. Like, you are a pathetic fucking worm. And it's embarrassing to watch. You don't even bother to make arguments. You're like, you just sit there uncomfortably shifting around your seat because you're desperate for Destiny's attention. And you could, you're a pathetic loser and irrelevant in every way. All right, somebody linked me this. I don't know what this is.
I don't fucking like you. What? I said I don't fucking like you. You don't like me? No.
This must be for smug maxing. Thank you for the smug maxing link. Look at Casey Tron. Thank you to everyone who called. So many of us are filled with hope tonight. This is just the beginning of the wins. It's just the beginning, folks. The new NYC Democratic Party, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Richie Torres are awful and need to go, but Piker is a favorite who delivers margins. Piker's greatest hits. America deserved 9/11. Orthodox Jews are inbred. Belief in Israel's right to exist is a mental illness, and I don't have any patriotism for America. Old enough to count, old enough to mount. That he's paraded around NYC in campaigns is seen as an asset. This can't be real life. Zionist lies don't work anymore. We saw you defend rape prisons, mass murder and kidnapping of children, ethnic cleansing, unprovoked aggressive war. You are finished. And that's the reality, folks. Like, that is where we're at. As a liberal progressive, I would be fine with the party moving left if these wins were about Medicare for all, reproductive rights, universal child care, taxing bills, and creative affordable housing, but they weren't. Yeah, it's about destroying Israel. I'm not shy about it. Israel needs to go away. Just like apartheid South Africa needs to go away. They got rid of apartheid, they changed the flag and the and then they had equal rights for all. There was no revolutionary genocide of the white South Africans. They just had to stop dominating the majority. Same thing is true. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. You understand that? And there's going to be some trials, okay? You guys committed genocide. There's going to be, some of you are going to be executed. Some of you are going to go to prison for murder, for mass rape. There's going to be some amount of severe punishment. Some of you are going to die in prison, right? That's just, Benjamin Netanyahu should be hanged for crimes against humanity and genocide. I don't think the ICC actually has the death penalty anymore, so I guess he's going to rot in prison, right? Like, that's the future. Law, politics, culture, academia, in every sector of society, anti-Zionists are winning. They have developed a cultural narrative, one that reads October 7th, not as a genocide against Israelis, launching a regional war, which Israel was under aggression from all sides, but the great revelation of Zionism as a global evil. On the basis of this narrative, they justify the purging, harassment, and targeting of Jews all around the world. I have no problem with Jewish people, and I despise anti-Semitism. All you could do is lie.
Do I have to pose an electoral risk to the party?
But why?
And
Why
also,
subject?
U.S. people talk about general election is less the politics that sells.
By the way, she was on a Zionist organization. She is a virulent Zionist, but she had to resign from it because apparently it was also pro-choice. So conservators made her to resign from it. So being a Zionist that supports genocide, fine. But being in a pro-life or pro-choice organization, not okay. Actual foreign agent.
I think that's where you're grow out. I think a lot of the politicians try to inflate to a this is very real.
Why didn't the leftist primary Richie Torres? Okay, here's what you guys understand. That I've been having a debate with a lot of other DSA people, and they believe that capacity was limited. Yesterday, I had a conversation where I said, if we go 3 for 3, it means we didn't run enough people. If one of them loses, it means it was properly calibrated. If they all lose, then our theory of the case about the Democratic Party rejecting Zionism was incorrect. Okay? What happened is they went 3 for 3. It means we didn't go for enough. Claire won by 25 points. Lander won by 30 points. We didn't go for enough seats. That's the reality. However, you know what's really good? Next time around, Claire's going to win in a landslide. Lisa's going to win. They're not going to primary those guys. They're going to be on defense. And all of them are going to be endorsers. All of them are going to be leaders. All of them are going to take the fight to the Zionists in New York City. We're going to have more leaders. We're going to have, they're going to be raising money, right? They're going to have the ability to deploy resources. They're going to be diverting away resources from Zionism. More and more people are going to cave and capitulate toward them. Unions, WFP, the establishment. We are going to make gains and we're going to keep them and we're going to use them to leverage fights for further gains. We're on the aggression. We're on the attack. So now we have no more forts and more hills. Could we have done more this time? Yes. We could have taken a bigger bite. But we landed. We look strong, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's going to be a lot of intimidation factor from that as well. Knocking out 2 incumbents in one city, winning an open seat against the institutional progressive left and unions from the left, they're in fucking panic mode.
Yeah, everything and all of the above.
This is the moment when we learned it was 3 for 3.
It was called? And that's a dub. Wait, that's 3 for 3? The Democratic Party machine in the blue stronghold of New York City was thoroughly defeated tonight.
We're on the DSA shit right now. We got Claire Valdez. We got Lisa. Let's go! I've been drinking slightly.
What a fucking night, ladies and gentlemen.
3 glasses of wine. 3 glasses of wine.
Oh, God.
All right. I'm glad that's on the internet.
Hey, after tonight, my price went up. You have to be a Democratic Socialist if you want some of this fucking shine. Sorry.
That was my thing. He's jacking my entire shit. He's jacking my entire shit. Trump canceled the signing of the housing bill because of DSA. He wants to ram through his election reforms. President Trump arrives at the Capitol for lunch with the Senate Republicans. Every election is important. They want a lot of communists to come in. The people that are pushing our communists in this country is not going to have communists.
The war is going very well. As you know, we're winning by a lot. Iran is making very big concessions. We'll see what happens, but it's been very, very, very powerful. It's going very, very well. Go ahead. This is every election's important. We're doing very well. They want.
Hasan said pessimism of the intellect, optimism of the will in an interview last night.
A lot of communists to come in. I'm saying it a little bit differently, but the people that they're pushing are communists, and this country is not going to have communists. Thank you very much.
Stand, guys, for holding.
The malding is fucking incredible. It's tasty. It's delicious. And just think about this moment, chat.
Started with a bunch of like random people on our stream, like DSA New York City Slate, where we interviewed 10 at a time. Just boom, 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 boom. In a random Wall Street shared office space. That was like 6 months ago. I can't believe it. It feels insane. It feels unbelievable. But they did anyways, and they were right. Thank you for coming. All of my so many volunteers. I never thought in a million years people, all you freaking sickos out there, that we would be in a situation like this. Who poured over.
When people start talking about Graham Plattner being a communist or talking about the socialists, it's like when Obama ran and the Republicans are trying to run against.
I shed a tear, not gonna lie. Wait, what was this? Assad is glowing today. That motherfucker. that motherfucker. I'm making some ass today, chat. I'm making some motherfucking ass today. Did we lose DSA cheeks? Yeah, for the time being. Someone mass reported it. Plastic chairs, a plastic table, and a dream. Every single one of these people won. Oh, Conrad lost. No, you're right. Fuck. I guess I'll just delete it. I'll come up with something else nice after the stream.
Richie Torres, I know you won tonight. I didn't even look at your race. You probably won, you piece of shit. Remember, I was coming for you, but you got lucky this time. But I'll see you in 2. I'll see you in 2, motherfucker. I know you stopped talking shit. I know you stopped talking about Israel, Richie Torres. What happened? I'll see you in 2 years, motherfucker. Just wait. Richie, I'm coming for you, Richie. I'm coming for you too. This is our city. You think shit is sweet? Sit on that fucking seat for the next 2 years. I'll see you in 2, Richie. I hope you remember that.
Oh my God, Ray. That's
every
crazy.
day, every time there's a decision that you can make where you are pro-Israel, I hope you remember. You got 2 more years, motherfucker.
And ladies and gentlemen, the entire capitalist class is scared. They are actually frightened. Are you ready for some premium hog watch?
All right, this is a Fox News alert. Incumbent Congressman Dan Goldman, who was just banned from a New York City coffee shop because of his support for Israel. He has now lost his primary to a radical socialist backed by Mamdani. It appears that, you know, a pretty scary transformation is now fully underway in the Democratic Party, especially in a blue state like New York. Now, meanwhile, President Trump spoke at a Mack truck facility in Pennsylvania where he touted his economic success.
Macungie, Pennsylvania is where it's a swing district, chat. That's Bob Brooks. That is the, you know, Bernie Sanders endorsed Medicare for All union leader. But I thought you can't win anywhere with Medicare for All.
Rallied with Republican candidates ahead of the midterms, while also taking a jab at far-left radical Maine Senate candidate, our friend Graham Plattner, and of course his Nazi tattoo. Take a look.
How about the guy in Maine? He's got the Nazi stickers. He's got the whole deal, and they're trying to say so for 8 years, 10 years, they said Trump is a Nazi. Now they can't say that anymore because they have a guy with a tattoo on his chest.
And also another Mamdani-backed candidate, Claire Valdez, just won the Democratic nomination in New York's 7th congressional district. Wow. Here with reaction, he is the Deputy White House Chief of Staff and Homeland Security Advisor, Stephen Miller. All right, New York is one thing. This is a big night for Mamdani, but it's also like a cancer spreading, you know, across the country. You got Tallarico, you got El Sayed, you got Graham Plattner, and you have no mainstream Democrat but the one we just had on, John Fetterman, that is willing to stand up to them. What are we learning about what's happening to the Democratic Party, Stephen Miller?
Well, this is an issue, Sean, you and I have discussed on your airwaves many times, and tonight brings really terrifying evidence of just, as you said, how far this cancer has spread and is spreading across and throughout the Democrat Party. The candidate who won that race in New York tonight campaigned, as Senator Fetterman said, on abolishing ICE, abolishing borders, abolishing jail. So effectively, this candidate is saying that every single American citizen should live at the mercy of the most violent criminals, terrorists, and thugs on the face of planet Earth. Just our whole country there for the taking, there for the pillaging. No protection for you or your family. And we've seen in every single race where there is an open Democrat primary, the radical left base of the Democrat Party is electing the most socialist, the most communist, the most lunatic candidates, the most fringe candidates that possibly exist. Every one of them, against cops, against ICE, against Border Patrol, against borders, against jails, for every crazy trans idea, against every single tenet of traditional American values, principles, religion, God, all of it. I mean, you saw this quote from Tallarico today where he says he hates Christianity. These are the candidates that they are running, Sean. So President Trump, in a very real and very literal sense, is the man, is the leader standing in the gap, in the breach, protecting this nation from this tyrannical wave of left-wing insanity.
How do we ever reconcile?
Oh, this is music to my ears, dude. Like, I don't even really have a reaction. This is just music to my ears. They're just mauling. They're just in fear. And I gotta let you know, chat, that like the problem is that Dsa Mamdani and Dsa and Claire and all these guys are way too nice. I wish they were a little bit more like me. I want to make their fears come true.
The ones that want Marxism, socialism, defund, dismantle, open borders, sanctuary cities and states. How do we ever reconcile these two very different ideologies? I don't see how.
No, I mean, fundamentally, Sean, look, we used to have a country, you could pick what time period, maybe say the 1980s with Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan. We used to have a country where you had a center-left Democrat Party, really a center, I would say a center to center-left with many members who were actually center-right. These were called Reagan Democrats or Blue Dog Democrats. So that was the spectrum the Democrat Party lived in, from center-left to center-right. Then you had a Republican Party, right, a conservative party. And over time, the Democrat Party has abandoned all of that, and they have instead adopted this radical, revolutionary, and in many cases violent ideology that wants to tear America down and destroy everything that we know and love from top to bottom, right? Living in a state of total anarchy, without police, without law enforcement, where criminals can rape and maim and murder with impunity, where your kids are taught from the age of 2 to hate America, to hate their God, to hate their parents, to hate their family, to even hate their own gender. That's their agenda. And no, you cannot have a middle ground with that. Ultimately, what President Trump is doing and what he is leading is an America First movement that says we need Democrats to come vote for us to leave that insanity, because
I gotta say, chat, like everything that I foresaw is coming to pass. And I mean that in the most humble way possible. It's not about me. It's about the opportunity that we have, which is centrist Democrats have been discredited. They folded rather than they tried to collaborate with Trump because they were scared of what? The pro-Palestine movement. They left the field open for us to organize. The normie Democrat, the Debras and the Dianes, and even some of the Karens, they became disillusioned with centrist Democrats' weakness. And then we had a charismatic person like Dsa Mamdani popping up, and it's leading to and he's been an effective administrator as mayor of New York City, America's most important city, our largest city. And our movement is being given an unprecedented opportunity to make inroads in America. We have a socialist organization that is rising to maturity in DSA. There is a wave coming, and you still have time to jump in the water and catch a hold of it. If AOC runs through DSA, we're going to have 10 times the members 2 years from now. If she leans into a revolutionary optimism, the sky's the fucking limit. My fear is their collaboration will deepen with Trump and the right, and while they're desperate and terrified for their jobs, they try to rat fuck the midterms and push everything to full fascism. I mean, that's certainly a risk.
Ultimately, that's just a death knell for America.
I don't see Plattner winning. I don't see El Sayed winning. I don't see six-gender Tellerico winning.
Listen to the pathetic, desperate cope. Also, he looks fucking terrible. Is he going to die soon?
Well, I just don't. And, okay, so you have New York City, which is like an island unto itself. Very different. New York, a different state. How does this play out nationally? In my mind, these are uncharted waters heading into a very important midterm election. And no mainstream Democrat, but for John Fetterman, will call out the radicalism within their own party. So if the party's going to put their seal of approval on it or shut their mouths because they're afraid of the people that are the real power brokers, my question is, how does that end? How do we interpret what the midterm will look like going into this?
Yes, well, ultimately, that's the communication challenge that we all have together, Sean, which is to explain to the American people that Democrats you grew up with, the Democrats that your mom and dad grew up with, the Democrats that your grandma and grandpa grew up with, do not exist anymore at all, not at any level of government. A vote for any Democrat anywhere for any office is empowering a party that wants to strip this country to the bone, to take away our security, our defense, our way of life. You know, just tonight, Sean, I saw a Democrat member of Congress online defending the Antifa terrorists in Texas who were just jailed for shooting an ICE officer. They shot an ICE officer. They were charged with terrorism, and a Democrat congresswoman was defending the Antifa terrorists.
Mamdani is endorsing candidates that don't want the most violent people put in jail ever.
No, I mean, and look,
they're
by the way,
tonight.
Look at, by the way, but they're all like this. Look at Roy Cooper in North Carolina. He released murderers and killers and rapists. So this is a choice about defending you and your family. A vote for Republicans and Trump is literally a vote to protect the lives of the people you love most in this whole world, Sean.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
I gotta say, like, it just feels so fucking good, man.
A Fox News alert. And did you feel that? A socialist earthquake overnight as three Zoran Mamdani-backed challengers win their Democrat primaries and drag their party even further to the left. And while Mamdani becomes the party's new kingmaker, some Democrats are preparing to fight back.
Plus, President Trump making his economic pitch in Pennsylvania as gas prices fall. But the president has a new target that he says is making it harder for you to pay at the pump.
And foreign World Cup fans obsessing over ranch. I'm not talking about a one-story home. Right. I'm talking about the dressing. Maybe in luck trying to get it back home. We're going to tell you about the amazing and quick move by one brand to make sure our fellow humans throughout the world can bring what we give to the world.
God, like, look at these fucking people, dude. Look at these fucking reptilians, man. There really are two Americas. Like, there's 30% of America that for those people, this is normal. The Republican makeup looks like trashy. It's so bad, dude. You know, and he looks like his collar's too tight. He's got he's fat. Shit doesn't fit. He's spilling over his collar. God, he looks, this is Mar-a-Lago. It really is.
Is ranch back to their home countries. It's what you need to know. You're watching Fox and Friends First here on a Wednesday morning. I'm Todd Pyre.
And I'm Carly Shimkus, and we begin with Madeline Rivera with the very latest on the primary results coming in this morning. And Maddie, it was a socialist sweep in New York City.
That's right, Carly and Todd. New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani says the results of Tuesday's primaries were the beginning of a political movement. One of the far-left candidates he backed beat a 5-term incumbent in New York's 13th congressional district. Congressman Adriano Espaillat, the chair of the Hispanic Congressional Caucus, lost his seat to Democratic Socialist Darya-Lisa Avila Chevalier. In New York's 10th congressional district, Mamdani-backed progressive leader Brad Lander ousted Congressman Dan Goldman, who was the lead prosecutor in Trump's first impeachment trial. And in New York's 7th congressional district, another Democratic Socialist member, Claire Valdez, won the Democratic.
I mean, when you say ousted, like an incumbent getting less than 35% of the vote, I mean, he's despised. When you have a head-to-head race, there is a portion of people that just go in and flip a fucking coin. If in a head-to-head race in a primary, if somebody's getting around like 60, 70%, that means like almost every single person was voting for them who was in contact with the campaign. Like they were absolutely crushing. And when you layer on top of that, he was an incumbent with AIPAC money, he got absolutely fucking smoked.
Democratic nomination. Chevalier and Lander have said they want to abolish ICE. They've also been critical of Israel. Valdez, meanwhile, wants a state takeover of utilities and housing and unions for all, and said Free Palestine was on the ballot.
Solidarity is the force that we need.
Thank you, Chatter. This looks really good. This is exactly what I wanted.
To vanquish Trump's
176 seats. 176 seats were D plus 10 or better. 176 seats are D plus 10 or bluer. We have 176 targets without even getting into one swing seat. Amazing.
Fascism, to abolish ICE, and to stand up to the...
Any in Ohio? What the fuck? There's like 3. This is D plus 60. I just have to make sure some of these people are gonna already be good. Probably about 50 of these people are already good, right? Like I'm saying, you get what I mean? Like we've got literally over 100 spots. Even if we make it like, even if we narrow it, right, and make it like D plus 20, we still have 142 seats. If we make it D plus 40, we have 78. There's a lot of spots for the left.
Billionaires.
Abolish ICE. Free Palestine. Organize your union. And join DSA.
What we have delivered here today is a clear mandate that the era of taking a check and cashing a check and calling it representation is over.
Outside of the Big Apple, South Carolina's State Attorney General Alan Wilson will become the Republican nominee for governor. President Trump initially endorsed Wilson's opponent, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, and she did finish first in the primary election. The president then decided to endorse Wilson and Evette in the runoff.
I believe he recognized what we've been doing for the last 10 years to support the things he was trying to accomplish with his administration. But also, I think he saw the fight in our campaign, the energy in our campaign. And I think he likes a fighter, and I think that's what won him over. I want to thank you, Mr. President.
And in Utah, former Congressman Ben McAdams is on track to return to Congress after winning the Democratic primary in the 1st Congressional District. He beat several progressives in the process, including one backed by Senator Bernie Sanders. Calling it town.
All right, what a night. Madeline Rivera live for us. Maddie, thank you so much. All right, staying on this very topic, New York City Mayor Dsa Mamdani propelling 3 New York primary candidates.
Thank you for your interview with Claire. If people in the space aren't giving you your flowers yet, I'm sure that will change soon enough. Oh, I mean, listen, like, we're all part of a growing movement. Like, you know, I have a Twitch show, and I do what I can to help people, right? And I want to do more, and I want to get more involved in politics. And I have a great friend who's even more successful than me with Hasan, right? Like, and I have great friends at the Majority Report. I want us to do more. We're all, I mean, there's 350 million people in this country. There's space for a lot of us to do this work together. We're not in competition, right? Like, there is a lot. I just think that I've earned my space. You know, I feel like I've laid down my analysis, and it's God damn it, it's one of the best in the country. I challenge you to show me someone who has better analysis with more specifics and more empirical hypotheses that get tested. If you need more visualizations, I'll DM you. Oh, hell yeah, brother.
Into the midterms, giving the progressive wing of the Democrat Party a major boost.
This is your victory. What you all have shown this evening, whether for state assembly, state senate, or Congress, is that a year ago, it was not the end of a political movement. It was the beginning. And let's hear it for a politics that will never forget working people. For a politics that is is ready to write a new chapter in our party's history.
Conservative Partnership Institute Vice President Rachel Bovard joins me now. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. It happened last night. And all these socialist candidates believe in Medicare for all. They believe in abolishing ICE. They believe that Israel is committing genocide in the Middle East. And one of them, Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, once posted on Twitter that she forgot napkins, so she wiped her hands on the American flag, and she and the others are poised to be sitting members of Congress. What is your reaction to this, and why this socialist movement is growing right now?
Well, there's no getting around it that this was a very good night for the DSA.
I mean, all that shows me is that your bad posts are not gonna fucking cost you anything, and nobody gives a shit about that crap. And if you do, you're a fucking rube.
Democrat Socialists of America. And I think what should concern everyone is that this is a growing movement.
No, I like the way you present things. It's generally so different. I went through a lot of leftist streamers over the years, and they haven't been as consistent. And to be honest, I can always count on you not to fall in line behind something just because other streamers are. You've got integrity, pathos, and ethos coming out your ears. Sorry for the glaze, but it feels like the Knicks won twice, and I'm in a great mood. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm very autistic, so I don't have social graces. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I do agree with you that I have integrity, and I do think my arguments are strong, but I also have no social graces. So for some people, that bothers them. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Remember, the DSA has grown 10% in membership since February. They have been chalking up wins at the local and county level in red states like Arizona, Kansas, Iowa. So these congressional seats are simply the next step in the process of them consolidating power and becoming less of a fringe movement on the left than moving towards becoming what is now the establishment Democratic Party. As you mentioned, people with extreme views are now going to be sitting in the United States Congress. And it's not just, you saw the DSA update its policy playbook just earlier this month. They now want to abolish the Senate. They want to abolish the Supreme Court and the presidency and make it all subject to Congress, in addition to a whole host of other things that they've talked about for years, like borders aren't real and all of these crazy proposals. So I do think this is something that can't be ignored. It can't be laughed away. Mayor Mamdani can rightly, at least after tonight, claim the right as kingmaker of the left. And for establishment Democrats, you break it, you bought it. They had time to push this movement into the fringe. They didn't. The time to say no to it was when they said borders aren't real and America is racist and Israel and the Jewish people are the source of every problem in America. They did not do that. So now Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democratic Party in Congress, is going to have to deal with these people who now represent, in many ways, the face of his party.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of people say what happened last night, it took place in New York City, no surprise there. But, you know, these three candidates that win, they give the socialist movement more messaging, more power there. When they get to Congress, they're going to have committee assignments and just become overall more visible. And it sounds like what you're saying is with these three races and the local elections that are taking place that aren't getting as much attention, that there is a real movement here that could impact politics on a national scale.
That's exactly right. I don't think, you know, for a long time, we've shrugged and said, well, it's just New York, it's just these blue states. As I mentioned, we now have Democrat socialists, elected officials sitting in red states like Arizona, even in Texas, in Iowa, in Kansas. These are county seats. These are local elections. And what happens after that are these federal elections, are these federal seats. You just saw a Democrat socialist candidate win the Democratic primary in Maine's 2nd district, which is a district that Donald Trump won by 10 points. I mean, they are making inroads in, you know, all across the country. So I do think this is something that the Republican Party, the institutional right, needs to grapple with. The left should have done it a long time ago, but now this is who they are. And I think that the establishment Democrats are going to have a hard time controlling them. Hakeem Jeffries has a lot to work to deal with, because these are not members of Congress who are going to be deferential to, you know, the establishment Democrat way of doing things. They're going to get on committees. They're going to do what they want. So buckle up, Democrats, because there's a lot coming at you.
Well, Democrat Mamdani said that the Democratic Party needed change, and last night that is certainly what happened. We'll see how that change translates when it comes to all of us in the national conversation. Rachel, thank you so much for joining.
Well, everybody, it's been an amazing morning. The possibilities are endless. The next 2 years are so important. And I want you to get out there, join DSA, start going to some events, start showing up. And I appreciate all of you so fucking much. there's really only one place for us to go right now. And it's my friends over at the mothership, where he's just become exactly what I always like. Hasan has started to become the leader that I knew he would be. You know what I mean? For a long time, I was saying like, hey, Hasan isn't just a dumb streamer. Actually, he does have a lot of motion. He is influential. He does have power. And now he's going above and beyond what I ever thought, you know, we could do. And it's fucking awesome to see. So thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals, for all you've done for me, for the movement. It's only getting started. We are winning. Socialist summer is here, and we are going to change the world. So thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals. Here's all my links. To make sure you check out the new Reaction podcast. We did a conversation about the John Birch Society, which is like really important. If you want to understand the history of like the populist right, the fascist right in this country, go check it out. I'll see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Solidarity forever, my friends. Peace.